Hey, this is RIKKI ROXX, and you are listening to ROCK4VETS.com.
The Big Rock.
The Big Rock. Keeping the music alive.
Bon Jovi. Lenny Kravitz.
Hey, all you rockers. This is Johnny J, your host for The Big Rock. Catch me right here on Rocks 100 as we are keeping the music alive, rocking the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The Big Rock on Rocks 100.
Rock. The Big Rock. The Big Rock.
Everything that rocks. Rocks.
Feel your best before making an arrest. What you gonna pick? Cop pockets when you don't want something salady. Avoid police brutality. What you gonna pick? Cop pockets.
Cop pockets, filled with juicy jelly, mouth-watering maple and bacon, and creamy custard on a crispy donut.
When you want an easy meal while you're busting that your deal. What you gonna pick? Cop pockets.
The cop meal in a pocket.
What you gonna pick? Cop pockets.
Hey kids, would you like to be a rock god the likes of David Lee Roth in his heyday? Then you need to get the
RIKKI ROXX Rock God Starter Kit.
Each kit comes complete with black nail polish, eyeliner, sparkly scarf, an actual chick magnet, a velvet jacket to make all the girls go wild, and an over-the-hat skull cap with bandana accessory. Act Now will also include a handy booklet showing you all the best places to wear your sunglasses at night. Regularly a $29.95 value, now yours free when you take advantage of this fabulous offer. But don't act just yet. We'll also throw in a wall poster chart diagramming all the best rock faces to enchant your audience, proven to wet the ladies' panties in mere seconds. For all you newbies, this great kit also includes a CD demonstrating how to push your voice for the radio, taught by RIKKI ROXX himself. So quit being a big puss and man up rock style with the
RIKKI ROXX Rock God Starter Kit.
Now yours for just $29.95 plus $99.95 shipping and handling. Call now. 1-800-ROCK-GOD. That's 1-800-ROCKGOD. Now. Operators and tattooed hookers are standing by to take your order.
Did you wake up this morning with a nasty rash and nothing but regret? Did you go home with a sweaty bass player last night? Did you wake up wanting to chew your own arm off because some skank's laying on it? Are you feeling a burning, itching sensation in your crotchal region? Do you feel like you need to scratch your ass with tree bark? Are you walking around like you were banged with a Scud missile? Did you meet someone at the bar you thought would actually call you back? Idiot! Then you need Skankosporin. It'll cool that burning sensation before you do the walk of shame to the cab. That's Skankosporin Itch Paste.
Available at In-N-Out Party Stores, Bottles and Stuff, 8 Mile Liquor, and Cunningham Drugs.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
This Memorial Day, we salute you, Mr. Gasoline Barbecue Starter.
Mr. Gasoline Barbecue Starter.
Never mind charcoal chimneys and easy lighting briquettes. The only way to start a real barbecue is with a gallon of 93 octane and a big book of matches.
Light up the sky.
Who needs eyebrows? You're hungry, and you've got 7 pounds of lamb shanks ready to go.
That's a lot of kebabs.
You don't just defy convention. You defy warning labels and common sense.
Then you know I cute.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh Prince of the Pyrotechnics, because no one makes a backyard mushroom cloud like you.
Mr. Gasoline Barbecue Starter.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Carter's.
You're nothing my side as it burns us in the crown.
No regrets, no sorrow, burning down.
Wear a mask like a wall of lies, shaped into dust to discern my mind.
Flames are climbing, but you'll never pull me down. Pull me
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks. It's Ricky Rocks, coming out of the box. Bitches come in flocks, trying to steal his jocks. He needs to be contained with padded rocks. It's the Ricky Rock Show, spreading like the pox. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks, yeah. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks, yeah. Ricky rocks up in your grill, motherfucker.
Yeah. All right, turn that off. All right, there's that, and now there's that, and here we are. Episode number 146 of The Ricky Rock Show right here on YouTube Live and Rocks100.com. Shout out to everybody hanging out in the chat. Not too many people, but they're there. Steve Engyel from Mississauga, Ontario, hanging out. My brother-in-law, he's hanging out there, too. Sherry Claire is in the house. What's going on? We've got a phenomenal show, killer show. Episode 146. After tonight, 2 more shows. I just came to that conclusion today. 2 more shows, and then we're done. It's over.
For good?
Well, for the time being. I got to move, homie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've talked ad nauseum about it. I got to go move with my mom, so I don't have any room for a studio, because this whole thing would take up like half my room. Ugh.
Have you sold the house yet?
No, obviously not. You see the fucking mess down here. Well, we're going to be listing it the next couple weeks. I mean, now it's kind of like gangbusters time where I got to like really pack this shit up.
Picture the real estate agent bringing people in here doing a showing while you're doing the Ricky Rock Show.
Oh yeah, this is a famous studio down here. You too can own a piece of radio history. So it's a thing.
It'd be good for about $40 more.
Huh?
Probably ups your price $40.
Or might knock 40 grand off of it. Let me bump you up a little bit. I can barely hear you. A couple more shows. September 4th, we're going to be doing a show, episode number 147. I'm not sure who the co-host is going to be that week. Because for the last 2 shows, I'm going to bring on Dakota Starr from Black Swan Dive Bomb. I was in Dirty Whiskey and New Day Revolution with him. And when I announced I was going to be ending the show or putting it on hiatus, he's like, dude, let me just be your co-host once. I've never done it. I've been on your show 100 times. Let me be a co-host. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I was talking to him when we were in the studio, doing Finally Free, my solo track. And he's like, well, dude, I thought the show was, the interview was only an hour. I'm like, well, if you're going to be a co-host, you're going to be there for the whole show. He's like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? Our new album's not going to be ready by then. I'm like, no, we can do a whole retrospective of your career and do stories of debauchery and shit. Like the Dirty Whiskey era, it's like it's like a low budget Casting Shadows, like even lower budget, and we can talk about that. We can talk about New Day. We can talk about all this stuff. He stood up in my wedding and we can talk about all that. And he's like, oh, I guess we can fill 2 hours. I'm like, dude, we need like 10 if we decide to really deep dive on this shit. So we're going to have him in here. Not sure if it's going to be next week or September 18th. But whatever, because September 11th, I'm going to a benefit for a friend of mine who passed, Johnny's benefit thing at Diesel is on September 11th. So I'm going to go to that and not do the show. So whatever week Dakota doesn't do, I'm going to have Jeff Land from Casting Shadows come in. He's been a guest on this show more than anybody because whenever I don't have a guest, I always have Jeff Land.
Who's been on more, him or Slapnick?
Ooh, that's a toss-up, dude. They gotta be pretty close, probably half a dozen times a piece, I'd think.
Oh, over a half dozen.
Yeah. It's gotta be a toss up between him and Chris. And I wanted to get Slapnick in, but I never know what the fuck his schedule is. I just found out that they're out of town, Ava Under Fire. They're doing these like club shows and shit now. So I'm like, God, I don't fucking know. And I'm sure he doesn't have any fucking idea on what the hell he's doing, So I wanted to bring him in. Maybe I will, and I'll extend it another week if I can line up something with Chris. So yeah, this is going to be the last Zoom interview we do today. And I could think of nobody really better to do it with than KAYLA. She is a young singer. I just kind of learned about her in the last year and a half, 2 years with her band Stage Drive. And now she is a solo artist and did that Bieber cover of Ghost, which is fucking killer. And she plays a guitar solo in it. So I'm like, oh man, she's got this Lita Ford thing going on now, and she wears the outfits and shit. So it's like very Lita Ford 1986 kind of thing. So I'm like, dude, super fucking cool. And Stage Drive, they got one more show left this year. And I'm like, okay, she can promote that. And we played Fatal Conceit at the top of the show. They're on that bill as well over at the Token on September
24th?
24th or 26th.
I feel like it's the 24th.
Maybe it's the 24th. I should have written that down. I don't know. I'm supposed to go to it, but I don't know if I'm going to. Because it's kind of my thing. Like, I always miss Stage Drive shows. So I'm like, I can't break the thing now. I can't break the spell or break that's our thing.
Yeah.
I always miss Stage Drive. I've talked to KAYLA about it. I've seen her out and about and talked. She's like, and I know the drummer Brian. And things always like, oh, have you ever seen Stage Drive? I'm like, no, you guys always play butt fuck early. And I always get there like 5 to 20 minutes after you guys finish.
Don't you hate that? You feel guilty.
It's horrible.
I do that all the time to bands, especially and then what's worse is when they approach you.
Yeah.
Hey, did you like my set? And for whatever reason, I'm always honest. I'm like, bro, I just got here.
Dude, the closest I ever got to seeing Stage Drive, and I've told KAYLA this, was they were playing at Diesel. I can't remember the show it was. And I got there while Brian was tearing his drums down.
Oh. And K. Puga has chimed in. September 24th will be the Stage Drive, Fatal Conceit, Crafted Conviction show.
Ah, shit. So you knew it and I didn't. God damn. I'm supposed to be there.
No, you're not, because they're headlining, right?
Who?
Or Stage Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Or do you leave early? Do you just see Crafted and Fatal Conceit and it's like,
that's a long drive back to the east side. I got to go. Hey, guys, have a great set. I got to deuce out. That would be fucking hilarious, though. They would be so pissed. But I think I'm supposed to introduce them, too. So it would have to be like a really quick go. All right, guys, make some noise for Stage Drive and just head right out the door. Right out the fucking door.
Go through the side door, like the backstage loading dock.
And I have to run before somebody plays something. Otherwise, I would have heard Stage Drive live. So I'll probably go and I'll probably see Stage Drive. Might as well. I've missed them probably half a dozen times, and I think I owe it to them to see their band before they're done for the year. So, yeah, super cool.
Katie Puga is filling in for Stage Drive.
She is. She's doing double duty. And I saw the set times, unless they changed. I'm like, dude, you got to set your bass amp and shit up for Fatal Conceit, then tear it down because Crafty Conviction's going to play, then set it back up again for Stage Drive.
Can't you just push it off to the side? I mean,
on
the token stage, you probably could.
I guess you could, but you still got to disassemble everything and unplug it and turn it off. It's not like you can just leave it up there and be like, haha, all you fuckers got to load up now. My shit's already here. So unless things change, I think it's Fatal Conceit, then Crafted, then Stage Drive. So, we're going to be talking to KAYLA King in the second hour of the show. But first, we got to get to our nuts and bolts and harsh truths. This is the segment of the show where you send us your questions about anything having to do with anything, and you get my totally unqualified response to it. And this one I am totally unqualified for, as are you, Bob. But we're going to make our most valiant attempt at answering this one. This one has to do with record deals. This one's been
Do they still exist?
Yeah, Kayla's got one.
Oh, yeah.
Aim Under Fire's got one. Everybody's got a fucking record. Jeff Land had a record deal.
Well, that was,
it was a record. I never said it was a good one.
Yeah, but, okay, so there is the thing, with Eva and Kayla, they're actually on, I'm not going to get started. Just read the question.
All right, so here it is. This question comes from Tomas, or Thomas, out of Wyandotte, Michigan. He writes in and says, hey, my band wants to get a record deal. If for nothing more than for them to help us with connections and things we can't do by ourselves. How does a band get a record deal these days? Doesn't seem like you can be local stars and land a deal anymore. Got any insights? Bob Sergott.
Oh, very lack of knowledge here, but I'm going to say it really matters who you pick as a producer that can open doors for you, send your disc to interested parties, and see where it goes from there. I worked years ago in a band, and they sent it out. I mean, we didn't get signed or anything. Nothing came of it, but at least I knew that CD was getting listened to by Sony.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean,
how long ago was this?
2018.
Okay, so 4 years ago.
Yeah. So it was the producer had a connection. He had a connection with another label that's well known, and he sent it to them. I mean, nothing happened from it, but I think the producer has worked with artists, before.
Yeah. So, my take on, I can only go from secondhand, asking people who've gotten record deals. Of course, I talked to Slapnik about this shit and the guys from Ava and Lady, because I've known them for 20 fucking years. And I asked them, dude, how did this record deal thing go with Better Noise? And they were called something else before. And why did they sign you? And the pretty much the crux of their answer, the Cliff's Notes version, was they saw we were doing a lot of shit on our own, and so they didn't have to build it from the ground up. The connections to other venues and stuff like that. They had already proven that they're willing to put in the work and they can live together on the road, so the label doesn't have to worry about the band breaking up on the road or something like that. And, there's a lot of bands I've talked to that's pretty much the consensus thing. That a label wants a band that they don't have to do a lot of work on, like A&R shit, build a band from a local band all the way up, like they did in the 80s and shit like that, where Guns N' Roses could play LA and get signed to a record deal, and they're out on tour with Aerosmith a couple years later. Not like that anymore. From what I've heard from people that are on bigger labels, not the shitty mom and pop ones that Jeff Land signs to.
Yeah, I didn't want to take a knock on that. That's where I stopped silent, because there's a few other people where people have been like, hey, I'm on this label, and I Google and look, and I'm like, oh, shit, you're the biggest act on their label.
That label has 5 likes. Obviously, they're not good at social media marketing.
Yeah.
So.
And those, I don't see what the point is. Going into that, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Even those labels, they want something off of you. We've chronicled on the show, the Casting Shadows, Spotify.
Yeah.
Now some other people that you made $0 off of control your Spotify for those songs that were originally recorded without you.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with these no-name. Is it even worth it are you really gathering or getting anything from those labels?
Yeah, so that's the thing. You know, you can roll on the Jeff Land record label carousel and sign with the mom and pop bit and hope that things work out. Chances are you're going to get nothing from them that you can't do yourself. But, you know, like the bigger labels, like Ave Under Fire, you know, Better Noise Music and shit. You know, they do movies. They represent fucking Motley Crue, Papa Roach, you know, name big bands. From what they told me was they got that record deal. They sent it in cold, their first album, Anchors. They sent that in like cold, unsolicited. And I guess the band or the label listened to it, liked it, did some research on the band, and saw that they had been doing really well on their own. And they had grown their social media on their own and have gone on tour on their own. And so, you know, I guess that's the thing labels like to see, you know, the big reputable ones. They like to see a band that, okay, this band is already putting out a quality product. They're already writing good songs. They're already going on tour and they're already growing their fan base. They can latch on, the label can latch onto that and build off what they already have and kind of just bump it to the next level. You know, the big leagues kind of shit that, okay, this band's gone on tour. They've done clubs. Awesome. They're getting a great response. They're growing. This band will be phenomenal if we can just get them on a bigger stage. That's where the record label comes in. That's what you should want.
Oh, and
from
the
a
radio.
Record label.
Don't forget the radio.
And radio connections. That's more management stuff than labels. But, you know, when you're signed to a record label, like the Jeff Land carousel of shitty labels, this is what I heard happened to Jeff and his label. Okay. They promised him the world, that they were going to go on tour, you know, with bands like Tantric and Saving Abel and shit like that, and they were going to go on the road. And I guess Jeff had left his job and got another job that would allow him to go out on tour. And I remember him telling me this before I was in the band. He was like, dude, we're going down to Texas to record this new album. It was going to be called The Book of Shadows.
Yeah.
And they were going to go down to Texas, record a full album with some big name dude. And I'm like, Texas? What the fuck? Okay, that's cool. And they were going to send him out on the road to support the record. None of that happened. And go on Spotify and look up Casting Shadows. This Life is still the only song on there. I've been sending emails for days trying to figure out how to get that taken down or at least move ownership of it over to the band. Not going to fucking happen. So there's going to be 2 Casting Shadows up there eventually. And so what ended up happening was the label, quote unquote, has the Casting Shadows all the streaming. He gets 100% of everything from the streaming. Jeff has not received 1 penny from the 50,000 views or listens that This Life has. And so that's why there's side A is not on there.
Yep. And here's the thing, because when this started to go down with Jeff, I talked to him quite a bit. In the breaking up,
yeah,
he did say there was in the original agreement when told Jeff, I'm like, don't give him your songs. I totally said this. And in the original agreement that if Casting Shadows and that label split up, Jeff was supposed to get his song rights back.
I'm sure Jeff still has.
That was in the original agreement.
Well, see, that's so kids out there, don't sign to mom and pop, you know, some dude in his garage record labels. It's a horrible idea. Here's my advice to Tomas, dude. Okay, you're in a band, do as much as you can yourself, blow it up yourself, and then you'll have the record labels knocking on your door. You know, go out on tour, build your own following, record phenomenal music, spend the money on yourself, and people will start to notice. Okay, that's the best advice. And go on the road, go out on tour. Ava did this all the time before they were signed. They'd go on the road for 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they'd play clubs. When Raz was on the show, he'd talk about this all the time because he used to book their tours. And they were only making $100 a show when they first went out. They were losing money hand over foot the first couple tours they went out. But their fan base started blowing up. They kept up with their social media. They were engaging with their social media. So next time they went back, they got $200. And then, you know, by the time Kevin stopped working for him when they got signed, Ava Under Fire is making $1,000 a show by themselves. And so when a band can do that and get to that level where they've proven they can build an audience on their own with their own music, labels will want to piggyback off that. This is a band that can already make money. So if they can make money for themselves, they can make money for us. This is another thing. The record industry has nothing to do with good music. Nothing.
No.
This is something I've learned over 25 years of doing this. It doesn't matter how excellent you are as a guitar player. You know, I can go on YouTube and find guys who can shred for days, circles around anybody, but they're going to stay in their fucking basement. You know, it has to do with marketing and promoting yourself and getting yourself out there to as many people and getting as many people as possible to be into your band. It's a huge popularity contest.
100%, because there's a band I know is less rock and metal than this show, but kind of a Maroon 5 based band called Yam House that I booked, and he's got on record. They were just on an NBC TV show. They were looked hard by some labels, and you know why they didn't get signed? Because of the social media reach. Just wasn't their social media. They didn't have the following. It wasn't following they used. It was like I forget what word they used, but it was just all about the following of social media.
The engagement.
Yeah.
See, that's okay. Ooh, now we're going down a rabbit hole of shit that irks me. Another thing. Okay, this has nothing to do with record labels, but record labels do look into this. Chris has told me this ad nauseum about other bands in Detroit who have a shit ton of streams. Record labels audit Spotify and see where your streams are coming from. So this is a thing that was really popular when I was younger, and I guess it's still a thing. I don't do it. You know, casting doesn't. I haven't done it in probably half a dozen bands, but you can go online and pay $50 for 10,000 Spotify streams. Okay. What these are is they're not putting them on playlists or anything like that. They're sending them to the Philippines or whatever, where they just have computer banks and they just hit play. They have bots that just hit play. And when the song is over, play. Over and over again until they get as many plays as it takes, and then they charge you for it. You know, so, and they do this for however many bands want to shell out for it. But what record labels can do and what Spotify has on their back end is they can see where all these plays are coming from. So if you have a song that has, 20,000 streams or something like that, a record label can they have that connection with every streaming, Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Hey, send us your stream info on this band. And if it all says Hajungungan Philippines 10,000 times, they know it's fake.
Oh yeah, no, and as a promoter, I've had to deal with this. Like, my boss has been like, what about this band? Look at all the Spotify listens. And I go on Facebook and it's like 4,000 views. And I'm like, well, they're not going to get who cares about the Spotify listens?
Right.
Because you only have 4,000 people that like you. They're not going to learn about my show.
And that's the thing too, it's
a trick for promoters too, is like, oh, look at us.
So even with that, with Spotify and all that, if you have, 50,000 views or something like that, and say you have diehard fans, like fans that really love you, and they just stream your shit all the time, they'll be like, okay, yeah, there's 40,000 views, but this one guy in Clarkston, Michigan pretty much played this song on repeat 500 times. There's only 40 people that are listening to this, but it got streamed 4,000 times. So everything on the back end of everything can be audited. Big labels will do that. So just be prepared for that. If you do get approached by a label or a label shows any interest, if you're fake about it, they'll find out about it. So the best thing, do it yourself, do it organic. Don't pay for streams and all this crap. Go out on the road, do it yourself, build your own following out of town. Don't stay in town. That's the biggest cancer. That's the biggest crux on any band. A label will not sign a band that just plays Detroit, Minneapolis, and just plays their hometown over and over and over and over again. You can be as big as Critical Bill in town, but you're not going to get a fucking record deal if you draw 500 people in your hometown, but never leave. Not going to fucking happen.
No,
not now.
You look at some of the big names that signed. How many shows did Greta Van Fleet play here? Not many. Chloe, not many. And, both of these got signed. And how many shows did you see either band before they made it big? Either Chloe Mon... Oh, how do you say her last name?
Oh, that Caitlin used to play for.
Yeah, how many shows did she do locally?
She built her shit on social media.
Yeah.
Chloe, I can't remember what the fucking last name is, but that's... Okay, there's another thing.
See, I'm really throwing you on sidetrack.
Yeah, see, that's, you can get a lot of traction with organic and legit YouTube streams. I Prevail did it with Blank Space.
Yeah.
They were a local band. I knew the guys in I Prevail, when they were playing in front of 10 people. Then they did Blank Space. It went viral, and they blew up, and everybody started going down and finding their old music and really starting to dig it. So that was a band that, yes, if you get 10 million streams that are legit on YouTube, yeah, you can get a record deal that way. There's a lot of ways to do it, but being a local band, staying local, you'll never get a fucking record deal. Doesn't matter if you have 50,000 streams, 10,000 streams, 100,000 streams. You're not going to get a record deal unless you can go out on the road. So that's a thing. Unless you have a producer that believes in what you're doing and is willing to put the time and effort into A&Ring you. So, okay, that's enough of nuts and bolts and our shrews. We've talked way too long about that. Chloe Moriando. Yeah, there it is. All right, so Bob Sergott, what's been going on, homie? It's been a hot minute. It's been like 2 weeks since you've been on the show.
I really, came
Thanks,
down from
Larry.
Shilling Fest and kind of been taking it easy, to be honest. I haven't even seen shows. It's been, I saw Alice in Chains, but that was about it.
Yeah, did you get to check out the Life Project? The first band, On Before Bush?
No, I got there about middle of Bush. I didn't even know I was going until about 5 o'clock that day.
Yeah, because Jaron from Tantric is playing bass, and it's the guitar player from Stone Sour, and it's Cassandra Carson from Paralandra in that band. So I wanted to go, but I'm gotta move, so I ain't got money.
Yeah, no, one of my friends had a medical emergency for, their child was all right, but it was a medical emergency. So it was like I was meeting Dylan and his fiance there, and I'm like, oh, I got an hour to find someone. And I'm like, I know the lead guitarist of the Alice in Chains tribute act, Dirt, so why don't I bring Noah out? So,
oh, okay, clever. Because I was going to be like, yo, motherfucker, what the fuck? I'm 5 minutes away from your house, dude. So that makes sense. Okay, so you went and saw that. It's been like 2 weeks since you've been on here.
Yeah.
So not much.
Not much.
That was
got some side projects, not musically related. I've been working on. Got a little thing going with Raz, but that's his place to announce, not mine. So
awesome.
Yeah. No. So I had to finish up that video, and
big things coming soon from Kevin Razlog.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I was talking to Kevin Wesley Williams about it. He's like, none of those fuckers even looked at me when I came in and said hi to him. Raz, I guess, just blew right by Kevin.
I talked to Kevin Wesley Williams a little bit that day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I was like, oh, Bob was here too. And yeah.
Yeah, no, he came in when we were setting up some shots, and then he turned away. Like, we were like kind of in the moment of like setting up the camera shots, and then he bailed out, and then
ooh, this is Elsie Bink's most hated people.
I wouldn't go that far. Come on.
Yeah. So speaking of Kevin Wesley Williams, do you have anything else to add? Because that was a perfect segue into what I was going to do. Is it
my life's boring right now? Segue.
Just got my first mix of Finally Free last week, Monday, from Kevin Wesley Williams at the Sound Shop. He did my vocals and actually made them presentable. And I might play it on the show.
Do it.
I can do it. Okay, so what we ended up doing, so I went in there when I first originally sang it myself, down here actually, just on the track and just voiced over it. It was very angsty, like very kind of thing. And Darren Curtis from EBX, he was like, Ricky, it was good. It was way too Rob Zombie for this song, though. He's like, you sounded like Rob Zombie. I'm like, that's kind of a compliment. I'll kind of take it. He's like, yeah, that's cool, but not for this song. This is more modern rock. You got to tone it down, homie. I know you're angry. I know you're pissed at women and all this, but tone it down. It'll sound a lot better. So he's working on me with harmonies and shit. And he's like coaching me. And he's like, damn, dude, for a bass player, you're actually pretty good at matching notes. He'd play a note on a keyboard and I can match it. And he's like, that's fucking bonkers. I know lead singers who can't even do that shit. It took Aaron like years to be able to hit a C sharp and vocally hit a C sharp without having to go, ooh, there it is, And so went in and cut Finally Free, and it didn't actually take that long. Kevin's like, dude, one take, you were pretty much right on. I can move things around a little bit, but 90% of your lines are right on key. And he's like, you've never done this before. I'm like, no, I was in punk bands and I did background vocals for New Day and Dirty Whiskey and Mound Road, just a lot of like things. And that was pretty much the extent of my vocal recording repertoire, you know. So went and did that, and Jeff Land and Dakota came down for a gang vocal kind of thing in the bathroom over at the sound shop where they record
the photos. I was wondering what was going on there.
So it was super cool, and it you know, got it all knocked out in probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And he sent me the mix like 2 days later of it. It's not the final thing, but it's the rough mix.
I gotta send it to Tom, the master. Is that it?
I don't know. We got to recut some parts and remix some parts, but you know, then I got to get the final thing, set the mastering, do a music video for it. The music videos end up costing me probably a fortune. I don't want to bog you down because I know you're like, I only want to do 3 or 4 of these a year. But the thing is, you know, you were asking me before the show, you're like, who the hell are you going to get to be in your RIKKI ROXX band?
Yeah, when you do your CD release party.
No CD release party going on. So that was the thing. Like, I was like, you know, what the fuck am I going to do if I ever have to play this shit live? And I'm like, do I just do frontman? Do I play bass? Do I play guitar? You know, what do I do? Because I wrote the parts on bass. I can play them on guitar, but I've never been Axl singer, just holding the mic stand and dancing around and shit.
I got an idea. Well,
backing tracks?
No, Casting Shadows. They usually practice or were rehearsing up until recently at a place called Captain's.
Yeah.
And they have karaoke inside, and you can just create a karaoke track.
Just make them a karaoke track. So we can do this real quick. For everybody that's out there, we're going to play it. We're going to play Finally Free. This was written about the one upstairs, and her, and somebody else. So super cool. And so here it is. Finally Free, my solo track, RIKKI ROXX. God, it's so weird to say. RIKKI ROXX debut solo track.
You
Finally,
another name for your.
Why?
I don't know.
I am a band name now.
Okay.
I've never been a band name. So here it is. RIKKI ROXX, Finally Free. We're gonna play it first time ever. Here it is. Be back in a couple minutes.
You know I can't decide. I need a hit, I need a fix, I'm sick. I don't understand why I gotta crave this. I need a hit, I need a fix, I'm sick. Certain things ripping through my veins, sucks my life away. Moth to a flame I can't restrain. I've come to hate my fate. I need a hit, I need a fix, I'm sick. I don't understand why I gotta crave this. I need a hit, I need a fix, I'm sick. Deep down inside I think that I deserve this. I hate the man you want me to be. In your eyes I'm just a disease. Turn my back, ignore your pleas. I'm finally
finally free, the debut solo track from Rikki ROXX.
Oh, this is going to sound so mean. It's so much better than I thought you could do solo. It really is.
What were you expecting, dude? What did you think this was going to sound like? Like, what were your thoughts?
I only have your background vocals to go off of.
Yeah.
And I can't see that fronting a band. So, like, I was picturing, like, your background, but whatever reason, I was pitching the sound. Nothing wrong with it, but Mountain Road Engine was, like, what I figured the sound would be like, the band.
Yeah.
And then the vocals would just be, like, your background.
Yeah.
This is so much different.
Yeah. See, I can sing. I used to do it when I was like a kid. When I was like 13, 14, 15, I'd sing in like punk bands and shit. So that's why I don't have like a lot of range.
Yeah, no.
But I'm very solid in my very mid-rangey kind of thing.
Yeah, no, and it works.
You know, and, I was kind of going for the 6 a.m. vibe on that one. And I sent it to Dakota, and he's like, well, dude, you got your 6 a.m. sound. That's very 6 a.m., And Noah Polston from Sideline, you were like, where are you? Guitar solo? I'm like, no.
I was just having fun for the show.
Yeah, no, if I could play guitar like that, I would not be playing bass and Casting Shadows.
Who did rhythm? Was that you or?
So this is how that worked. So over the years, between all the bands I've been in, I'd still play, in my basement, just kind of have my phone up and like memo shit. So like I'd record riffs and just, basic riffs, like 20, 30-second things. I'm like, oh, this kind of sounds cool. I'll be noodling around down here. And so what I did was I had this log of stuff that I just a bunch of riffs. And Miles Claiborne from the band Saul, he's like, dude, I can, send me some of them and I can arrange them for you and, re-record the guitar parts like in time and I'll play drums on them. So Miles Claiborne from the band Saul, who's going out on tour at end of the year, played drums on that. And when I originally, wrote those riffs, this was back, I think those riffs were around the end of my first time in casting, because everything was going shitty. So I'd come down here and play guitar, and I came up with some of those riffs. And, the drums, I definitely had Kevin Razlog in mind for it because Raz and I were supposed to start that new band. And so, yeah, that's where all that came from. And then I brought Dakota in. I'm like, dude, I have all these ideas for lyrical content, but I'm not good with words and lyrics. That's one thing I can't do. I can arrange songs, I can write riffs, but I'm not good with words. So I went over to Dakota's and down in Garden City, and he's like, okay, well, he told me like, just write a couple key phrases and we'll go off that. And so I'm like, one of the people I wrote this about, they had a line in one of their songs about serpents. So I'm like, somebody that I wanted to reference. So I'm like, I definitely need serpent in there somewhere. And then he's like, okay, well, you're going through this split, tell me about it. And I literally just tell him about how it's going. I'm like, I kind of feel like a disease. Like I'm not welcome in my own house kind of thing anymore. I just feel like people look down on me. He's like, okay. And so he just started jotting stuff down. He's like, okay, what about this? And, in my eyes or in your eyes, I'm just a disease. I'm like, dude, that's kind of cool, and, it was like, okay, well, what happens? Like she wanted me to do this, this, and this. And eventually I just said, no, I'm done. I've given too much. So he's like, all right, what about turn your back, ignore your pleads? Or there's another word, not pleads. We had to get it to rhyme, and that's kind of how it all kind of worked out. He was just asking me things and being like, okay, now let's fix this. And so then I took the lyrics to Darren. He's like, okay, we can cut this part out. We need to cut some things out to get timing right and all that. And then we fucking cut it. And that's that, so we got a couple mixing things to do on that. And then mastering, and then I got to do a music video for it. And I got to put together like a fake band for a music video.
No, you could just do Wolfgang Van Halen.
That's a lot of editing. That's going to be a $5,000 music video if I'm going to fucking do that. So I gotta get somebody. I think I might play guitar and just get a bass player and a guitar player, and then have Noel come out and I'm like a big riser and play a guitar solo, like Slash on top of a mountain or some shit. And Noah said he's already cool with doing it. So we're going to be doing that. And then I think I'm going to do a second song. You know, I said if people like the first one, I'd do a second one, but I enjoyed it so much. I think I'm just going to do a second one. Probably once I'm more settled into my new life as a bachelor at my mom's house. You know, so it's super cool. Going over into the chat, Kayla King says, sounds awesome, Ricky. New favorite song, which is ironic, says Kate Puga. There's that. Tim says, damn it, now it's going to be stuck in my head for another 12 days. It's stuck in my head forever.
Why didn't Tim get to be a background vocal? You didn't invite him?
He had to work.
Okay.
Yeah, he works later, and Kate was supposed to come, but she was sick and do background vocals on it. She was sick. Tim has to work later during the week. And I didn't want to take a whole day off work to record vocals for my dumb solo track. Steve Engyel, that's really excellent. Tim, again, so much fire. Treehouse Toppy. If this wasn't full of gaslighting, it'd be halfway decent. Well, that's his brother. And what does that even mean, says Tim? Starting a family drama. Let's fucking do it. All right, so we're going to move on with the show. Really cool band. We're going to get into our Pump It or Dump Band of the Week. We got Kayla King coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. This is a cool band. I really like these guys. I listened to a couple of their tracks. They're called CHUGGABOOM. They're out of London, England, in the UK. CHUGGABOOM. Okay, so this is like a hardcore band, but they're kind of funny. You know, they kind of do funny lyrical content. They just put out a single like Should Have Been, and they pretty much talk about how they should have been the headliner on the show. Their music video is epic for this. It's like local band shit. You know, they come see the set times and they play like super fucking late for like 10 minutes and shit. And then there's one guy who has to unload all the music video is really fucking cool. I don't even think I have it lined up. I did not get that far in life yet. Because
you listen to your own song.
Yeah, I just been listening to it on repeat for the last week. I literally have. So we're gonna get into CHUGGABOOM and their song Should Have Been. And we're going to play this. Info on these guys. If you're into bands like Amur, Attila, this is their own for fans of thing. Amur, Attila, Asking Alexandria, Attack, 90s cartoons, and Bitches. You might be into this band. Like I said, their new single is Should Have Been. Their latest album was released in 2020. They've been doing it on the singles tip. It was called Christmas Number Ones. They did hardcore versions of like that Mariah Carey bit. Like all I want for, but they did like a kind of a hardcore version of it, and it was like a 20-song album that they put out, and like Christmas of 2020.
That's commitment.
And I guess it charted. It's on here, number 3 on the iTunes UK metal album chart. So you can find these guys, facebook.com/CHUGGABOOM band. Info on these guys, formed in 2014 as custodians of the stolen riffs in their quest to restore metalcore to the galaxy. CHUGGABOOM quickly proclaimed themselves the greatest metalcore band on earth. Drawing upon a wide range of influences, including Upon a Burning Body, Devin Townsend, Funeral for a Friend, and Attack, the band have never shied from recording whatever they want. To date, they have already amassed an impressive back catalog, including 5 EPs, 2 albums, and several cover songs. While the world ground to a halt, pandemic, yada, 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 they released the album Chug Wars, the COVID-19 Saga EP, and the 22-track Christmas Number Ones album, which hit number 3 on the iTunes UK Metal Albums chart with support of their dedicated Chuggalo community. They've clocked up over 10 million Spotify streams and over 2.5 million views on their YouTube channel. Following the return of live music, the band returned to touring, going out on a UK tour in late 2021, supporting Our Hollow, Our Home. This is so much more to come from CHUGGABOOM. You really have no idea. Become a Chuggalo or get left behind. So we're going to get in.
Wow, that's an intro.
Yeah.
Is that the longest intro you've had on the show?
I know. So we're going to get into it. CHUGGABOOM, this week's Pump It or Dump Band of the Week. If you dig this song, head on over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/rocks100. Find the Pump It or Dump Band of the Week post. Give it a thumbs up if you dig it. Get the face if you didn't like it so much. I didn't really talk about my weekend. Fuck. We'll do it at the end of the show. I got to talk about ROCK4VETS and shit. It was cool.
Right, no.
And we'll do it at the end because we're pushing on 8 o'clock and we still have Beer of the Week to get to. So here it is. CHUGGABOOM Should Have Been right here, episode number 146 of the Ricky Rock Show, rocks100.com.
Oh, there is nothing in this world that tastes sweeter. No, there is nothing in this world that satisfies the way the
when the time came, yeah, we stepped onto the stage. Oh, there is nothing in this world that tastes sweeter. No, there is nothing in this world that satisfies the way the rush takes over inside. When you're better than the headline acts, we should have been the headline acts. Told me this will be the one and only time, but this would not be happening if we were done. How much I think being paid to finally cross the line? It wouldn't be so bad if the crowd wasn't mine. The crowd was all mine. Satisfies the way the rush takes over inside. When you're better than the headline acts, we should have been the headline acts. How the fuck did they get rid of all their boys?
All right. There, that was CHUGGABOOM of London, England, and their song should have been. What'd you think, Bob Sergott?
Catchy.
For metalcore.
Metalcore, a little repetitive, to be honest, but I mean, it's very catchy. It's got definitely a strong hook. But I really liked it in the beginning, and I kind of took the headphones off and started talking to you. So I really liked it in the beginning. I just thinking back, naturally, my reaction was, let's have a conversation, Ricky.
Okay, so there it is.
I definitely found it catchy. I just thought real repetitive.
Jessica Harris says new favorite song now. I don't know if she is talking about CHUGGABOOM or my solo track. I don't know. I got one person in the chat who doesn't like my solo track. It kind of breaks my heart.
Who doesn't like it?
My brother-in-law.
Oh. Well, yeah. I'm sure.
I know, right? So super cool. That was CHUGGABOOM.
Sure, there's one person in this house that doesn't like it right now.
She refuses to hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she didn't want to hear it. I asked her if she wanted to. She's like, no, I know what it's about. So I asked. I'm like, I think it sounds pretty good. She's like, it probably sounds great.
You're gonna when Cyber Tribe inevitably comes back, you're gonna try to buy onto their show just to play that song.
Well, I don't know about that. But all right, so we're going to move into our Beer of the Week segment. This comes from Steve Engyel out of Mississauga, Ontario. He sent this illegally because I don't think you're supposed to send alcohol over international borders. But he sent it. He packaged it in that green box you found on this over there. Here's the can for it. And this comes from Old Credit Brewing Company out of Mississauga, Ontario. This is their Amber Ale, a 5% ABV, 0 IBU, American, ironically enough, American Amber Red Ale. BeerAdvocate.com gives this a 7.5 on 10. The description on this one, confident, classy, and well-balanced, is on the ruby side of amber with an aromatic bouquet that is engagingly nutty with fresh fruity notes. Expect a distinctive toasted malt character and a thick, creamy. Got so much innuendo on these descriptions. I gotta tell you, thick and creamy,
just
fine.
Trying to enjoy a damn beer.
It's not over. Thick, creamy, fine textured head. Gentle texture on the palate. Oh, and here the hits don't stop there, and moderate length on finish.
Really?
The innuendo is insane on this. I don't know if that was intentional or what, but it is just full of dick jokes.
You got a Bud Light or something for me?
God, I got nothing. I got to empty that damn fridge.
All right.
All right. So have you had a taste of this one yet, Bob Sergott?
No, I'm scared. I'm really scared.
What, of the thick, creamy head?
Yeah.
Or the
length, the girth?
Or the gentle texture on the palate and the moderate length. It's only moderate. It's not like full length. So it's not like it's going to hit the back, you know? It's just kind of goes in and teases a little bit.
All right, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off now.
Do it. I'll look at him take that head in his mouth.
It actually is creamy, actually.
Yeah? How creamy is it, Bob?
Shit.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah, it definitely has, the head itself, because I rough poured this one because we were coming to the end of the song. It was a very rough pour.
You look good, bro.
So yeah, it definitely, has that kind of creamy thing to it. Creamier than your traditional red ales anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of get a little, I definitely kind of taste that toasted malt thing. I'm not going dick jokes on this whole thing, Bob. Come on. I'm not that clever. It kind of has that coffee malt kind of taste to it. I don't know if I like it or not. I kind of wish I kind of want more of those fruity notes.
Come on.
See, that's kind of what I want when I drink a red ale. Okay, when I have that, I don't want to have a lot of hops or a lot of malts. I kind of want that more flavor profile based, like whatever the hell you're gonna put in there, whatever fruit they usually use.
See, I want more hop.
So you want to be more IPA.
Yeah, and if I wanted the fruity flavor, I just get a cider.
Okay, yeah,
so
usually
I like one or the other. I don't like it mixed.
Yeah, usually if I'm getting a red ale, I'm going for something that's not, the malty, coffee kind of taste, and I don't want the ultra hop thing that you're getting from an IPA. Usually with red ales, you'll get like strawberry or raspberry kind of deal in there, and they'll really kind of emphasize that fruity taste rather than the malt or the hop. This one's very much on the malt side of it. Yes, it is it's not dry, it's not going to dry out your palate or dry out your throat or anything like that. That's why it's moderate length. It's not getting shoved down your throat and rubbing it raw, like an extended length beer. And, so it's definitely got that. It's very malty on this one. And yes, very nutty. It's like toasted nuts, I think. Drinking toasted nuts. So what do you give this one on a scale of 1 to 10, Bob?
I'm going to have to go 6. It's not really designed for me.
Okay, I'm gonna go a 7 on it. It's okay for what it is, and I appreciate you, Steve Engyel, for sending this one over.
I appreciate Steve for
it's very super cool. This is probably the 4th or 5th beer I think he sent over international borders and actually got here. So whatever it is, running the border shit, step up your game, because alcohol is getting what do they call it, bootlegged over.
I mean, we're really only like 5 miles from where it used to come in Michigan anyways.
Yeah. And they haven't upped their game in hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely, it's, if you like that malty, really kind of burnt kind of taste, if you're into smoky drinks and stuff like this, I think you might enjoy this one. Me, myself, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of taste, but if you're into that, this would knock it out of the park. If you're into kind of smoked beer, smoked beers,
though. I do like that.
It is smooth, and usually with that taste, it's going to be kind of dry and shit like that. So, super cool. Thank you, Steve Engyel from Mississauga, Ontario, for that. We are at 8 o'clock. I gotta throw another music video in here, and it's almost time for the main attraction, the big rock star, KAYLA King. We're gonna talk to her. So I gotta update shit here real quick, and I'm getting better. Right when I'm about to end the show, I'm actually getting better at this talking and typing thing. As I'm saying that, now I'm fucking it all up.
I think you pulled out right.
Cover. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play KAYLA King, her first single as a newly minted solo artist. Okay, and she covered "Ghost" by Justin Bieber. So this is a thing that I've been going on now with my daughter, because she hates rock music, and BJ Perry and them, with no result, they've been doing the Disney shit, and she's a huge Justin Bieber fan. Okay, loves Justin Bieber, and Ghost is on the radio and all that shit, and she knows all the words. So when this came out, I'm like, all right, Liv, check it. I know you don't like rock and roll, but this is a female singer, and she's doing your favorite Justin Bieber song. She dug it. She fucking dug it. And so she's like, well, I don't know about dug it. She's like, that was pretty good. I'm like, getting her there. I'm getting her into rock music slowly but surely. Yes, it's taking me Disney and Justin Bieber to get her there, but I'm getting her there. So we're going to play KAYLA King, Ghost, newly minted solo artist, much like myself.
Yeah, no.
And we're going to play this, and then we're going to bring KAYLA on Zoom and talk to her about all things her solo solo career, stage drive, what's going on with that, and everything. And I guess there may be a new single. I've been hearing the rumor mill already spinning on a potential brand new single. I'm going to see if I can coax some info on that out of her. And depending on how it goes, you know, back when we talked to Katie from Fatal Conceit, we did the 20 questions thing. I might see if KAYLA wants to play. So we'll see how it goes.
Did you write the questions yet?
No, I got them on the computer.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So here it is, KAYLA King, Ghost, covering Justin Bieber. Here it is, episode number 146 of the Rikki ROXX Show, ROCK4VETS.com.
Young blood thinks there's always tomorrow. Miss your touch on nights when I'm hollow. I know you crossed a bridge that I can't follow. Since the love that you left is all that I got, I want you to know that if I can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. I miss you more than life, yeah. And if you can't be next to me, your memory is ecstasy. I miss you more than life. I miss you more than life. Young blood thinks there's always tomorrow. I need more time, but time can't be borrowed. I'd leave it all behind me if I could follow. Since the love that you left is all that I get, I want you to know if I can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. I miss you more than life, yeah. And if you can't be next to me, your memory is ecstasy. I miss you more than life. I miss you more than life. Can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. I miss you more than life. I miss you more. If I can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. I miss you more than life. And if you can't be next to me, your memory is ecstasy. I miss you more than life. I miss you more than life.
Views.
All right. Bob was telling me about his own trek down the Justin Bieber cover thing, and luckily the song ended before he got too deep on it. So what we're going to do now is we are going to try bringing KAYLA King in here. Let's see if we can get her on here. Zoom on. Let's see if we get it. KAYLA, can you hear me? Connecting the audio. Connected to audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, there she is.
No shit, this is better than last time.
I know. KAYLA King, how are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Oh, I am living the dream. I am moving things around viciously, trying to get you properly centered on there. There it is. I got it. So, Ghost, brand new single, newly minted solo artist. Let's get right into nuts and bolts of this thing. How did all this happen?
So I've been doing solo stuff my entire life. I started playing guitar when I was about 9. I've been singing my entire life. So I've always had some kind of a solo career. I think this was back in, I want to say March. Chris from Ava, I heard you guys talking about him earlier. He reached out to me and he was like, hey, this guy, like, you know, he really helped us get where we are today. If he reaches out to you today, just know that I, you know, like sent him some of your stuff, so they might be reaching out. And I really suggest, you know, you work with them and take their help because I think they can really help you. And I was like, okay, I didn't really think anything of it. And then like 2 seconds later, BJ Perry messaged me and he was like, hey, and yeah, that just started the whole thing. We had a phone conference with John Pregler, him, and then myself, and we just kind of talked about what they're looking for, what I'm looking for, you know, how to make a career out of this, like what I want to do. And music is my life, really. So, you know, I definitely want to take it as far as I can, and they're a huge help in pushing me in that direction.
Okay, so they have a record label now, BJ and John, and I've known BJ for 100 years. Great dude. His old band, The Product, was fucking killer. Another Poho band. And so, how did that first conversation go? You know, because at this, you know, and still, you're the lead singer of Stage Drive, a band that you are very passionate about, a band that you have put a lot of time and energy into. And now somebody's talking to you about a solo career and something away from Stage Drive. You know, how did you as a singer kind of handle that proposition of going solo?
Well, so like I said, I've always had a solo career. That's always been an underlying thing in anything music related I've done. I've had, so Stage Drive has been a band for 2 years. I started it 2 years ago. I had a completely different lineup at first. Great guys. We just had different creative differences, you know, so we went in different directions. Prior to that, I was in another band. It was more or less kind of like just a duo, like a White Stripes type thing. It was just me, my guitar, and then I had a drummer. And so I've always had a solo career, and that's even in the beginning of Stage Drive with lineup number 1, and then, you know, when we kind of went our separate ways, lineup number 2, I kept, you know, I've made it clear that I love my solo music. I'm never going to give it up, you know, and that's just a thing, because I'm super passionate about both things. So yeah, no, with Stage Drive, yeah, I mean, I love it, you know. I'm still doing both right now currently. We have another show coming up in September, and then we were supposed to open up for Stryper, and they ended up canceling the rest of their September tour. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, so the first conversation kind of just went down. We talked about solo career. I did mention Stage Drive, you know, and I told them I was in a band, and I said I was passionate about it and all that. And they worked with me a lot on that, so that's really cool.
Okay, so they were cool with the fact that, you know, you're passionate about your band, but you are still totally cool with, you know, working hardcore on a solo career with, you know, reputable producers in John and BJ and doing that. So the big question is, you know, how are you going to balance the two? Because, you know, seeing the bands that BJ and John has worked with, you know, Ave Under Fire, No Resolve, State of Mind, I Prevail earlier in their career and stuff like that, you know, balancing what I'm assuming is a huge workload that's going to be coming your way as a solo artist. How do you balance that with, you know, 3 other people in Stage Drive?
So as far as the workload, it has been a big workload. So, you know, I have my typical 9 to 5 just to fund. I don't know. I'm big on the work-life balance, or like a work passion balance in my example. I do have a 9 to 5 job that I work Monday through Friday. So that on top of doing stuff for the label, on top of doing stuff for the band is a lot. It's been the last, I want to say 5 weeks has been a lot in general, because I moved on top of all that. So it really has been a lot. But I couldn't be happier, honestly. It is a lot. But I do like to stay busy, especially when I'm happy doing what I love. But as far as Stage Drive, so we do have, like I said, one show on September 24th at the Token. We're playing with KAYLA Conceit, Shadows Reflection, and Crafted. And it's going to be a really fun show. So that's going to be our last show for the year. And we're taking a little bit of a hiatus after that show. We all kind of had to sit down, and we're all really busy. We have a lot going on. And I kind of, I don't know, I guess I told the guys that I kind of lost my mojo. If I'm going to be this busy and this stressed out, I want to be 100% happy and sure about what I'm doing. And I haven't really been super happy with the direction of things lately. I love the guys, nothing against them. They're amazing to work with, amazing musicians. It's just an internal thing, you know? So we're going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus after that show. So that'll be our last show for a little while.
And the big question, because I am a bass player myself, you have had quite the bass player conundrum in Stage Drive for the last little bit. You had Elena, and then Jose stepped in for a little bit, and now you have Kate Puga from Fatal Conceit filling in. Take us through, and you said you've had member changes. Was there any point, for you, one, take us through the bass player conundrum, and two, was there any point in the rotating cast of people where you're like, maybe this just isn't the thing. Maybe the band thing isn't something I need to focus on. Maybe I should just do myself and just stick to my thing.
That's a really good question. Yeah. So when I first started Stage Drive back in 2020, Grant Liddy was my first bass player, and he's an amazing musician. He had a lot of personal things going on. He's still one of my closest friends to this day. I was just talking to him earlier, and I saw him last night. So yeah, we're still really good friends, but he had a lot going on. So he stepped down from bassist for Stage Drive. I had Eric Axelson. He played for us for one show back in 2020 in October. Again, amazing musician, but that was our last show we had booked after we kind of, talked to Grant about stepping down. After that show, I reconstructed the entire band. We had entirely different members. I have no bad blood with any of the members. I'm still really good friends with everybody. It's just, it's hard to find your people to work with. You have to mesh on every single level. Egos have to be put aside, and it's just really hard to find your people. There's so many musicians just in Michigan alone, and to find your group to work with is just incredibly hard, as you know. But yeah, so after Eric, so we had Elena. I met her. We met on CRB back in, I want to say, the summer of last year, and she was in Stage Drive for almost a year. Again, no bad blood with her. I just saw her perform last night. She did amazing. It just didn't work out. You got to find your people to work with. You got to find people that want the same thing. So it just gets tough.
So is there a KAYLA King band then? Obviously there's a track, or do you have a band formed?
Yeah, not so much a band. So I was working with amazing freelance musicians on that set, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be there for my next release too, in the next month or so. So it's not really a KAYLA King band. It's more or less just freelance musicians.
So how does that work? Because I'm assuming at some point you're going to take this live and play shows at some point in the future. Do you get a say in who's in your band? I don't know how this works with, BJ and all of them. Do they have a say in who's in your backing band, or do you get to pick them?
Yeah, so we've had talks about that. So I definitely get a say. It's kind of, that's the one thing I do love working about John and BJ, is that they've checked in with me on everything, like every single decision made at all, even when it comes down to song choices, when we were picking, like outfits for the music video. They're just so communicative. It's awesome. Working with them is a breeze. They're so great. But yeah, so as far as doing live shows, the first time I actually met BJ and John, we got lunch together somewhere in Port Huron, I believe it was. But yeah, so we sat down and we got lunch together, and I had, it was so funny. It was my first time meeting them, and I was so nervous to meet them in person. But I had a bullet pointed list on my phone of things that I wanted to mention to them, and this was before I signed with them and everything. And they answer all of my questions so thoroughly. I just adore that. But yeah, so I did mention live shows, and I told them, I love doing live shows. It's like my happy place, being on stage, just letting go entirely. It's I would like to say I'm a pretty extroverted person, but I do get really bad social anxiety. But then on stage, it just completely disappears.
Sure.
It's just somewhere you can be 100% yourself. And so I told them all about that. I said I really wanted to do live shows at some point, and we did talk about a band. So I do have a say in that. They said, it's about the image you're presenting, it's about the sound. So there's a lot of different components, and I definitely have to run it by them, but we all have a say in everything, which I really like about working with them.
So you brought something up, a little thing, but to me, it's a big thing. You were talking about social anxiety and things like that, but when you go on stage, it's a whole different beast, and I deal with that myself, when I'm not in Rikki ROXX mode. When I'm not in the rock star mode, I don't like being around people. I'm very quiet and chill, and I don't like being around a lot of people. And when I'm, going out, I have to literally make a mental switch. That's why I have the RIKKI ROXX name, because it's like my alter ego character thing, where I'm like, okay, now I'm Rockstar Guy. Do you kind of do the same thing, where if you're like, okay, if I'm going to a show, I have to make a mental switch in my head to go from KAYLA, the socially weird, stay away from people, kind of social anxiety, nervous, to, okay, now I have to be a rock star. Now I have to be a public persona.
Yeah, so going on stage, it's so you have your Ricky Rocks mode, I have my KAYLA King mode, so like I said, I have my typical 9 to 5 whatever, and then after 5 I get to be musician KAYLA, and it's amazing. And then at shows I get to put on like my whole get up, like the fishnets, the leather, like whatever, heavy makeup. It's fun. You get to be a completely different person just for that 40 minutes you're on stage. You get to forget about anything that's affecting you in the outside world. You get to forget about like, hey, what if that person doesn't like me? Who cares?
Right.
You're on stage being somebody else, and it's an amazing just release. So yeah, it is kind of like flipping a switch. And then even going to, when I saw you at the Diesel not too long ago for that 9-point show, even going to other people's shows, you're still in that scene, and it just makes you feel like you still have that release. Like I can still be this other person. Like I can just walk up to anybody, when typically, in day-to-day life, I do care what people think. I feel like everyone does to some extent. And, and I do care what they say and whatever, but like when I'm in that mode, it's like you just get to be somebody else for a little while. It's the best thing ever. And that's the number one thing I love about being on stage, is I just get to be that person and just have fun.
So is there a part of you, making that switch, from social anxiety to rock star public persona, going out and talking to everybody? Is there a time, because the older I've gotten, I know you're still young as shit, but the older I've gotten, I'm kind of like, oh man, I kind of don't want to be Ricky Roxx today. I kind of just want to be Jay and just chill and watch TV and not deal with people. Do you have those times where you're like, I don't need to be KAYLA King today. I need a day to just not be that.
I would say I have a day every once in a while, but I think, and me, John, and BJ have talked about this too, because one of the first things they asked me is, how bad do you want this? Do you want this to be your career? How hard are you going to push? How much do you want to do? And I want to do all of it. I want this to be my life. So I would say every once in a while have a day where I'm like, man, I just need to be KAYLA Dreams just for a second. I need to chill. But every other day I love pushing, and I love just trying my hardest, and, being KAYLA King and being able to show people what I got. That's my main passion. I love the push. I love the hustle.
So when you're talking, because we talked earlier on the show about record labels and work and putting that effort into your band or your project and all this, we referenced Dave Underfire and all that, and how they went out and did all that shit on their own. And then the label kind of was like, well, they can do that shit on their own. Cool. When you were talking to John and BJ about, the solo career, what were some of the things they told you that we're going to go into giving you the best shot at success in this? Was there things that were like, okay, you got to be very heavy on TikTok because you're really big on TikTok. It's a thing you do. And social media, what were I'm assuming they probably gave you a checklist. You got to do this, 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 and this. What were some of the things they told you that would give you the best chance at success?
So one of the things, like I said, Chris was the first one to reach out to me and say, hey, these guys might reach out to you. So one of the things, and I've thanked him a million times, by the way, that's amazing. He was a huge help in this. He pushed them in my direction, which is so great. And I can't thank him enough for that. But one thing that he said to me was, one of the reasons he sent some of my stuff to BJ was because he saw how prevalent I was on TikTok and how hard I'm pushing. And I'm already I was tuning into to the show earlier, and I heard you say, the bands that already do the things that the labels want you to do, that's what they're looking for. They want someone they don't have to coach or like coerce into doing, like, hey, go make a TikTok for your release, or hey, go do, like, you shouldn't have to coerce your artists. They should already be doing the things. They should want it more than you want it, so I wouldn't say really a checklist per se. It's kind of a list that I was already doing. I know I go to school for business and marketing. I'm in my last year right now, and part of marketing, which is so crazy because in these college courses 10 years ago, there's not social media mentioned, and now it's such a heavy thing because you don't go post a poster in some bathroom stall. You go post something on Facebook.
Right.
Like, that's the new poster. That's the new marketing, which is great. I mean, you get a bigger outreach. I would say I do miss the posting posters everywhere. That was great, but social.
Did you ever do that?
Insane.
Did you ever? You seemed kind of young to have done the posters on the wall thing. That was the thing I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, because so when I first started my solo career, I was playing at coffee houses, and I would have posters up at Guitar Center, and I would have posters up at the coffee houses, and even in the beginning of Stage Drive, we I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe our first show was at Parts and Labor in Melvindale with my first lineup, and we posted posters in the bathrooms, on the walls, everywhere. So yeah, I did. I like that aspect of it, though.
Okay, so we do have a question in the chat. Sherry Claire wants to know, do you have any vocal training or are you self-taught?
So I'm self-taught. Hi, Sherry, by the way. Hello, Sherry. So I'm self-taught. So when I was little, I couldn't afford guitar lessons or anything like that, vocal lessons. So it's funny, I have these very vivid memories of me sitting on my bed with my Nintendo DS, watching videos of singing and watching videos of how to play a C on the guitar, stuff like that. And that's something, if I had to say, is one of my best qualities, is just perseverance. I did not give that up. It gets frustrating because vocal control is really important. Even when I go to other shows, I am blown away by, I went to a musical actually a couple days ago, and I was so blown away at the vocal control of some of the actors. It's amazing. And that's something that I focused on really heavily as a kid. I loved vocal runs, is specifically my strong suit. And I always focused on that really hard as a kid. I'm so mesmerized by vocal control. No, I'm self-taught.
So vocally and guitar, you're self-taught?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God, I gotta hang that shit up. I gotta stop playing. I'm 38 years old. I can barely muster my way around a bass, and then here you are fucking shredding Ghost and killer fucking range. And I gotta quit. This is horrible. Okay,
that solo was tough. So I am not. I didn't do the studio recording of the solo. I did the music video, but I did have to learn it for the music video, and it was incredibly tough. I had Tim from Fatal Conceit. I asked him to tab it out for me because I was having a tough time. Yeah. Because I can play, but it's I don't know. It was a tough one,
All right, Katie Puga asks, when are we going to hear an original from you, and will it be a Stage Drive song?
So we do. Stage Drive still has an EP that's unreleased. We kind of ran into a little bump in the road after losing our last bassist, which again, no bad blood, wish her the best. But it was a little bit of a bump in the road. It definitely affects the band and just the environment. So we do have an EP that we haven't released yet. And then as far as original music with the label, I'm hoping soon. I do know my next 2 releases already. I'm actually recording vocals for my next song with Noise Machine on Labor Day, so next Monday.
I know one of them.
Are these going to be covers too? I mean, you kind of launched your solo career with a cover, or are we going to branch out? I know BJ lately. Last time I was on the show, me and Ricky discussed doing covers. Seems to be the prevailing thing right now. Is that what we're going to see?
The next 2 are going to be covers. I'm hoping to do an original at some point. We've definitely discussed it, but the next 2 will be covers.
What are your thoughts on starting off? Because obviously producing and the label house.
Yeah, I went on a huge tirade on this last time you were on here about covers. So yeah, Bob, your question.
So, what's your thought? Obviously, you're going to get your marching orders from a producer, from a label. What's your thought about launching with covers? Obviously, we know that you can do original songs. No one in this area has a question about that. But what's your thought process on just making a start out bit with doing covers?
So, okay, covers, I think it's a good way to launch an artist. A lot of the newer generation artists on TikTok are doing this. They'll take a song and they might not make it rock, but they'll make it maybe more of like a techno thing, or maybe they'll take a rock song and make it a slower acoustic song. It is a good way to launch an artist. So I fully believe in that. And I know damn well John and BJ know exactly what they're doing. So I've never doubted that for 1 second. But yeah, with the covers, I'm a songwriter at heart, so I do love originals. But the covers, I've had a lot of fun doing. And it's so cool taking something that already exists and just making it, completely morphing it into your own thing. It's amazing. The music is such a great thing.
So take us through, Ghost. That's like the big, that's the single you just put out. When it came to recording that song, how did that all come about? Did BJ and John just say, here's the song, sing over it? And you didn't have any say on how it sounded, or the guitar sounded, or the drum sounded, or did you have any input on the guitar sounds weird here, or the drums sound weird here? Did you have any say in the music, or was it, here's the track, sing?
No, yeah, I've had say the entire time, and that's the best thing about working with them. The entire road, they have sent me. They've sent me scratch tracks. And they say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? They'll send me pictures. Even for my first photo shoot, they were like, hey, which one do you want to use for your cover? Which one do you want to use for this? They'll send me the art for Ghost was done by their designer. They sent it to me, and they sent me a couple different options, and they were like, hey, which one do you like the best? And I got the pick. So I get say in everything, which is just so great. Like with a lot of labels, you'll find that artists, and that's why you're even asking, because a lot of artists don't have say in things.
Right.
So I mean, I am incredibly lucky to be working with them. They were really, really great. But yeah, with the music, so they sent me scratch tracks. They sent me just the isolated, audio tracks, just so I could listen to the instrumental. So yeah, the entire time I've had say in everything. Even the video was awesome. That was my first professional music video that I've done. So you could tell I was a wee bit uncomfortable. I'll get more comfortable as we go.
Right.
I hope to God. Gotta get better.
No, you did great. As a video director, I didn't see any uncomfortability. You seem natural at it to me.
So, my question, being the singer of a band, you're close with the guys in stage drive and ladies in stage drive. And you go and record this music video for your solo thing, and you look behind you, and it's not your crew, your buddies, your friends, that. Was that weird for you? Playing a music video with people that maybe you really don't even know?
It was a different experience for sure. The musicians that were behind me in the Ghost music video are some of the best musicians I have met in my entire life. Even watching them, my jaw was on the ground. It was insane. The guitarist, Zach, he does these cool jumps and kick flips, and it's so cool. It's amazing. And Troy, the drummer, was just incredible. It is a little bit weird not having my friends behind me, but then again, I'm big on leaving my little comfort bubble. I think the last 2 years I've been stuck in my comfort bubble. I was listening earlier when you're talking about local bands only playing local shows. I've been stuck in my little Detroit comfort bubble, I think. And this is, BJ and John are violently kicking me out of my comfort bubble, which I need. I need someone to kick me out of the bubble.
Train's going by.
Yeah. Which you got tracks like a mile from here, so it kind of confused me.
Yeah.
Katie asked also, are you going to perform stage drive songs under KAYLA King?
So my new artist name is KAYLA King. I won't be releasing any stage drive songs under the label. But when I'm playing on stage, my artist name is KAYLA King, which actually is also a funny story too. So that originally wasn't even going to be my name.
Let's get into stage names, because I love stage name stories. Take us to KAYLA King. How did you come across this?
Yeah. So, we were sitting there, we have a group chat, me, John, and BJ, and we're sitting there trying to come up with something. And there's one artist called King Princess, and she's one of my favorite artists. She's an amazing vocalist, guitarist, and I just love her name, King Princess, because it just shows power, androgyny, it's such a powerful name. And I wanted some kind of alliteration. One of my biggest inspirations in the entire world is Joan Jett. And she has that JJ, Joan Jett. I like that. And then I like the power and androgyny.
And the Rikki ROXX and the RR. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's just, it's a really just punching name, and I want people to have something to remember and something to roll off the tongue easily. So we're sitting there going through names and just going, and that's another thing too, and this kind of walks hand in hand with them, giving me a say in everything, every step of the way, which is incredible. They didn't just say, hey, this is going to be your name,
right.
Deal with that, sorry. They were like, hey, here's a really long, detailed list of things that we have ideas for. Give me your input, give me what you think, give me your thoughts, and then do you have a list of what you want to do? And so KAYLA King, I'm pretty sure BJ came up with that one. And he said it, and he sent it in a very long list. And then KAYLA King, I was just like, it just sounds, it makes me feel good. I think that was the number one thing about that name, is I felt good. I felt powerful.
So he sent you a list of proposed stage names. I'm kind of curious. Do you remember any of the ones that you looked at? You're like, come on, BJ. What the fuck were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking? What the hell is this? What were some of the weird ones you can remember?
I remember two of them, and they were the two that made me laugh. One of them was Killer KAYLA. That was probably the funniest one. And then there was KAYLA Kryptonite, I believe, because we were trying to go, because I told them I liked the Joan Jett, I liked the Marilyn Manson, I liked the RIKKI ROXX alliteration, I liked that. So they were like, okay, let's stick with the KK sound, you know? But yeah, no, Killer KAYLA, I was like, man, I don't know if I can pull that off.
That's very brutal.
Yeah.
You had to be in a metal band for that one.
There's actually something with doing the names that way. Stan Lee, the comic book writer, he couldn't remember names. So every character would be like Peter Parker, Reed Richards, Sue Storm. And it's just more memorable if you have the both letters match. I guess it's like a psychological thing. Yeah, there is a thing to it.
Yeah. So that's another thing too, and that kind of walks hand in hand with the degree I'm going for in marketing and business. I was using that too to pick a name because there's a million things, and McDonald's, for instance, their logo is like yellow and red because that's something that scientifically, I guess, in studies makes people hungry. Like that's just, it means warmth, it means hunger, whatever. So you have to think about what people are going to think about your image, your look. And one thing that I don't know if we're going to keep, actually, I'm not sure if this was really an intended thing, but I just kind of rolled with it. So using like that aqua blue hue in the music video, I really liked. So I've just been using that for everything. I've been kind of with Stage Drive, I used a neon red hue, just for everything, for logos, for videos. So for this, I've just been using like that neon blue hue, and I really like it. I hope we keep that as an idea for future videos, future logos, all that.
Well, themes are a thing.
No, and it's actually, it's a good look on the video because I just used it a little bit in a video recently myself, but everything's orange and green is what the hues they're throwing in right now. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. That video looked really sharp, and it was a break for me not to see orange and green. I fall for the orange and green too. I'm like, oh, okay, everyone's orange and green. Let's just do orange and green. So I like seeing that new color, and it rocked.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, that video was amazing to shoot. Again, that was my first like professional grade music video that I've ever done, and it was definitely an experience. Drew Jacobs, another one of Noise Machine's artists, he did an amazing job. He found this place. He had 3 other places in mind, and all 3 of them fell through. He texted me, I think it was the night before, it might have been the morning before, and he was like, okay, listen, so this place fell through, but fret not, I have 3 other options. I'm driving around right now, and he sent me pictures of this abandoned warehouse, and he was like, hey, what do you think about this? And the thing with working with Drew and John and BJ is if I were to say, yeah, I'm not really feeling that, they'll go out of their way to find a completely new location or to completely like scrap a song. Even my next release, John was like, hey, listen, if you don't want to do this song, just let us know. That's perfectly fine. This is, what we're thinking. And if I would have said, yeah, no, I don't want to do this, they would have been like, okay, cool. We'll keep like whatever. That's fine.
Wow. See, that's a good record deal.
Yeah. It really is. They're like, I feel, they're professionals. They know what they're doing. At the end of the day, this is a job. But I feel like I'm talking to a friend when I'm talking about business with them. And that's the thing that I absolutely love about working with Noise Machine. I feel like I'm talking to a friend.
So, you have the solo thing. That's going splendidly. You have a couple singles coming up. I know of one thing that's coming up, and it's going to be fucking killer. If what I'm hearing is real, it's going to be fucking killer. Let's go back to Stage Drive because, Stage Drive, I was talking about it. I don't know if I was on air. I was telling Bob about it, but it's a band that I never got to see. I'd always miss Stage Drive because they always played so buttfuck early in the night. I'd always miss them by 5 to 20 minutes. And the closest I got was I saw Brian Knickerbocker tear his drum set down. That's the closest I've ever got to seeing Stage Drive.
It's like me in detention.
Yeah. So, moving forward, now that you have, the solo career going, Stage Drive, you have that one show at the Token with Fatal Conceit and Shadows Reflection and Crafted Conviction.
Yep.
And you said earlier you have this EP that's kind of sitting there. What is the plan for Stage Drive in 2023? Whenever you get back, what's the plan for it when you circle back around to Stage Drive?
So as of right now, there is no plan. We haven't talked about circling back. So we had, I think this was, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, Tim, my guitarist, and then Brian, my drummer, we sat down and I was just honest with them. I just said, it's nothing to do with them. I love them to death. I would do anything for these guys. They've been amazing to work with, and they're just amazing friends in general. like just completely outside of music, I would hate anything to happen to our friendship. I love them to death. But yeah, I don't know. We just, we sat down and we talked about our goals, what we're doing. And I just don't know that I'm entirely happy with the direction everything's been going in. We've had a lot happen and they all kind of agreed. So right now there really is no plan to circle back. We do have the EP there. So I'm not really sure. It's not done. We're just taking a break and we're not putting a time limit on it because like I said, I kind of lost my mojo on stage with stage drive in general. And nothing to do with the people. I love them. Just talking about the band as like, an entity. I just kind of lost my mojo.
So that's kind of, God, that's a deep cavern we can go down with that one. I've been in 30 bands in my life. Casting Shadows, as far as I can remember, is my 30th band I've been in. So I know all about losing your mojo.
31 with the RIKKI ROXX band.
Oh, I'm coming up to 31 if I do this solo dumb shit. But what goes into, because I have my reasons why I kind of lost my drive in any particular band, and it usually comes down to, well, this guy's kind of a dick and I don't want to play with him anymore, or these songs aren't really up to snuff to what I think we need to do to get to the next level, or this guy's a drug addict, I don't want to deal with him anymore, or all these different variables, or we're playing the same places 100 times, no drive to get out of here. What makes KAYLA King kind of like lose her mojo, as you say it, in a band? Like, what was it for you that was kind of the catalyst for the losing the mojo?
Well, so one thing, and this isn't a bad thing at all. This is actually just a very common thing that just happens in bands. I think one thing is we all have very different writing styles, which is perfectly okay, but you have to find a way to balance everyone's writing style in order to actually write a song. All of the originals that we have thus far, I wrote lyrics for and I had a structure for, and then I presented them to the band, and then they came up with the music. So that's just kind of how it's worked thus far. So after, I think it was our past 2 shows, after that, we were like, hey, we need to start writing more stuff. And I was, we were all in agreement of that. But we discovered that we all have different writing styles. So for example, and again, it's not a bad thing, it's just a thing that exists and a thing you have to learn to deal with. And I think this kind of made me lose my mojo a little bit because, I like instant gratification and instant results, and that's just realistically not a thing. Everyone can like that, but it's just realistically not a thing, especially in music. Everyone knows that. But my writing style, for instance, I'm really, really big on lyrics. I've been a lyricist my entire life. I write poetry, it's just how I express myself. It's my form, it's my medium of art, And so I, do lyrics, I do music, I'll write a drum line, I'll do a guitar line, like whatever. And then Tim, my guitarist, he likes to just jam on stuff. He's like, hey, let's play until we find something super solid, which I adore. I think it's a very creative way of doing it. I wish I could settle into that, but I have a hard time doing that. And that's something I've been working on myself, is kind of settling into other people's writing styles, because my way is not the highway. It's not the only way to do things.
Sure.
So yeah, that was one thing I think that was kind of discouraging to me, because I was like, okay, why can't I sit down and just jam and just come up with stuff at the top of my head? And then, when I sat down later on that night myself, I was like, well, that's because I'm used to doing it this way, and I got to adapt. So that was one thing that was kind of discouraging. But yeah, no, no drug problems, no alcohol problems.
God, you're so lucky. You're so lucky.
Yeah. This is the first project I've been in that I haven't had a drug and alcohol problem. I've never had the problem personally, but I have dealt with it in my projects with others. And it becomes a lot at the end of the day. It's a lot to deal with on top of the band stress in general. When you have drug and alcohol added in, it's like, okay, this is a lot.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
just been dealing with that shit. Recently, yeah. So your writing style, when you're the kind of person who can sit at home with an acoustic guitar, come up with a verse, chorus, bridge. This is where the guitar solo goes, and you'll come to the band with a fully hashed out thing. And okay, let's play this, and then we can pick it apart and change it or flip things or do whatever. But you have a fully hashed out thing. Whereas maybe Tim or Brian or now Kate, playing bass, just jam and just fucking riff and go until you kind of stumble upon a riff and then kind of build on that.
So our last single, High, actually was one of my solo acoustic songs that I wrote, I want to say 2 years ago. And I was playing it at a solo show, and Brian was like, hey, we should make that a stage drive song. And so that's how that became a thing. And our single before that, Ego, I had a bass line for it, and I had lyrics, and then I presented to the band, and then they came up with the music. So I typically have a fully hashed out song, and I present it, which just, I mean, I don't know if that's an efficient way of doing it. It's just the way I've done it, and that's probably because I'm used to my solo stuff. And again, that's another thing that I'm trying to adapt on is other writing skills, other styles of doing that, because maybe that's not the most efficient way.
Okay, so there's something I want to do with you. I did with Kate Puga when she was on the show from Fatal Conceit. I amassed a list of 20 questions to kind of get to know Kayla King a little bit more outside of music and your personality. Are you down for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
They're not horrible questions or anything like this or anything weird. Kate did really well when she did it.
She had a lot of weird questions too on that one.
There were a couple weird questions. So if you're down, I'm gonna run through these, and Bob, you don't have to answer them. And this is just for Kayla. All right, question number 1: what is the meaning of life?
I think it's to be happy. I don't think it's about money. I think it's about happiness. Do whatever makes you happy.
Agree.
Number 2: what is the one thing you would change about yourself?
I have to have everything perfect. Perfection is something I despise, but it's something that I always try to aim for, and I hate that about myself.
Okay, very fair. Number 3: what is the biggest lie you have ever told your significant other?
Ooh.
Now we're getting deep.
Oh, current significant other?
No, any significant other, any significant other you've ever had in your life. The biggest lie you've ever told me.
Okay, so I had an ex-boyfriend. Oh man. Yeah, I had an ex-boyfriend, and that's probably too much to put out there.
Oh, do it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody listening. It's just us 3. We're just talking.
He was under the assumption that somebody that I worked with in the music industry in the past was like madly in love with me. And I had an inkling. I was like, probably, but I was telling him like 100% no, I don't think so. I don't think this is a thing. And so anyways, fast forward like a week after that happened, and that same person that he had under the assumption that was like madly in love with me tried to kiss me at a show, and I never told my significant other, and I lied about it, which is shitty, but I didn't want to make him feel bad, and I feel like that's a really shitty thing to do.
Ooh.
So if I could go back in time, I would tell him.
Okay. That leads into question number 4. Have you ever cheated on a significant other?
Absolutely not. I was actually, my last relationship I was cheated on for 5 months straight without knowing.
Gil.
Who cheated
Yeah,
on Kayla?
it was not good.
Yeah. Ugh, I know, right? Number 5, we're getting even deeper. At what age did you lose your virginity?
Ooh, I think I was 18.
Okay. I didn't feel so bad, because when I had Larry and Kate on here, I was like the guy who was like, I was 17. They're all like, I was like 12. And I'm like, God damn, you guys.
18, yeah.
Okay.
17 here.
Yeah, me too. What is the most amount of money you have spent at one time?
Ooh. I'm not really a big spender. I'm more simplistic than anything, I think. When I moved recently, I dropped $2,000 on just furnishing all at once, but I've never dropped like a significant amount of money on anything, I don't think. Not all at once, at least.
Yeah, I think Kate, when she did it, she spent like $10,000 furnishing an apartment when she was in the military or something like that.
I got one for you, Ricky.
I know.
That's related to this, Ricky. What's your biggest drink bill ever? Mine's $800.
Oh, mine wasn't that bad. I think I was at the token where everything is marginally more expensive. I think I spent like $500.
Okay, yeah. Mine was in Los Angeles where the price is up.
Lightweight. Man.
Okay, so that leads to the question number 7. What is your most embarrassing drunken moment?
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. So at Road Rangers in Taylor, We played a show. It was one of Stage Dive's first shows back in 2020. It wasn't really a show. We were using it more or less just to kind of work out kinks on our first set, you know? And so after, everyone loved us, and it was an amazing feeling. So we got off stage, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm done being on stage for the night. I have, well, now I have a rule ever since that night specifically. But we got off stage, and this guy, I've seen him around there a million times, super nice guy. He bought us all shots. And the shots, they were like an orangish color. I don't know what it was, but I was just so pumped up. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And I just took it back. And it was probably about the size of a shot glass, or not, I'm sorry, a scotch glass.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big shot. And
that's a drink, sweetie. That's a drink. No, that's not a shot.
He handed it to me and he's like, hey, let's do a shot. And I was like, let's go. I was so excited. The adrenaline was there, you know? But yeah, no, I threw it back, and it just went downhill from there. I was obliterated. It was terrible. And then I remember there was other bands playing that night, and there was this band playing the Immigrant Song. And all I remember is saying, hey, can I get up there and sing backup? And they were like, yeah, because they just saw me on stage. Yeah. But I didn't even know what song they were playing at the time. I was that messed up. I didn't even know what they were playing. I don't even know what I said when I got up there. I have no idea. And then I drummed too. So they let me on the drums, and that was a terrible mistake because I couldn't keep a beat to save my life. It was the worst night ever. It was terrible.
See, I think that trumps mine. I think that mine was because I had a wireless system in a shitty bar, and we played at 1 o'clock in the morning back in the Dirty Whiskey days. And I was in the bathroom with my bass peeing, and they're like, okay, you guys can go. And they're like, oh, we got to wait for our bass player. And then I'm like, just yelling out the bathroom, you guys can go. I'm wireless. I'm good.
Oh my God.
And I forgot the first song started with bass. Oh, it was like a boom, boom, boom thing. And I'm like, oh crap, I forgot. And here I am pissing, and halfway mid piss, I hear the drums start clicking in, and I'm hitting boom, boom, and my shit's hanging out. And I'm like, I gotta get to the fucking stage like now. And I forget to put my pants up and all that. And I'm running through the crowd. My donger's hanging out, and I bite the end of, because it was 1 o'clock in the morning, so I'd been drinking. I was like 26 at the time, and my foot bit the end of the stage as I was trying to jump up there, and I dove headfirst into the drummer.
Oh shit!
And so you just hear.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it was horrible. Okay, so going into number 8, what would your porn star name be?
Porn star name. Okay, so KAYLA King is like my artist name, so it'd probably be something like...
Yeah, I was about to ask, is BJ gonna help name your porno name?
Yeah, he can send me a list, you know, if music fails.
Killer KAYLA.
Yeah, you know...
Snuff porn.
Killer KAYLA. I could feel it. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know, it'd be something to use that king. Maybe like something a little less dominant, like princess. I don't know, something like that, you know? Like
okay.
Something less royal.
All right, question number 9. If you had to choose between going naked or having your thoughts appear in thought bubbles above your head for everyone to read, which would you choose?
Naked. God, naked. 100% naked.
Okay, so you don't want people to know what you're thinking.
Well, no, absolutely not.
Fair enough. Kate said she would just have the thought bubbles, so that way she'd know she was being completely honest with everybody.
That's a great answer. I'm still going naked.
Yeah. All right, number 10. What is your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. Okay, musically, my guilty pleasure, I think Katy Perry has an amazing voice, and like all of her older stuff, that's what I would focus on when I was younger, trying to learn vocal runs, so definitely Katy Perry.
Okay, number 11. What is your worst habit?
Worst habit? I never reply to anybody ever. I read it, and then I forget, and then I feel bad.
Okay, number 11, 12. What does your dream boy or girl look like?
Ooh.
Ricky Rocks.
Stop it.
Oh man, that's a hard one.
Like, do you have a type?
Yeah, I mean, okay, with women, I'm more into like, I don't like the super hyper feminine women. I like them to be a little bit more like androgynous, more like almost like a skater type, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the past with men, yeah, I mean, I've dated a couple country hit boys. That definitely wasn't it. That was not the vibe. I tried it, didn't work out.
Not a big fan of John Deere, huh?
Yeah, no, not really. The yeehaw vibe's not my thing. But yeah, with women, I don't really like the super hyper feminine. I like the more androgynous. And then with men, I don't really like the hyper masculine, like bodybuilder type. That's just not my thing.
Okay, that's good enough. Number 13, would you rather lose your sex organs forever or gain 200 pounds?
Oh, that's hard.
And Kate was like, well, just because you take my sex organs doesn't mean I don't have a vagina anymore. So we have to preface that with you turn into a Barbie.
Okay, so I would probably lose my sex organs because I can still please other people even though they can't please me, and that's perfectly fine.
Fair enough.
I'm getting fat, then I'm going to the gym.
Number 14, the world ends next week and you can do anything you want, even if it's illegal. What do you do?
I would storm on stage with Hailstorm because I would always, that's like my number one thing in life. I want to be on stage with Hailstorm or Joan Jett, one of the two. I would be invading their tours.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, Kate said she would rob Target.
I mean, okay. So again, I'm super minimalistic. I don't like clutter. And that's all that Target has is like stupid glass jars and like fake plants. And I don't want any of that.
Number 15, what is the worst date you had ever been on?
Worst date. Oof. Man, that's hard. Back my senior year of high school, I got food poisoning on a date. That was not fun. Puking everywhere. Definitely worst date of my entire life.
Was that the last time you went out with that person?
Oh yeah. Not by his choosing, by my choosing. I wasn't into. He was like a big yeehaw country hit guy. So I was like, this already is not it, and I'm puking. So this is like two bad things all in one.
That happened to me before. Food poisoning sucks, especially on a date. And
oh, it was terrible, man.
yeah, no, I had the gorgeous girl years ago, and spent the whole date. I was in the bathroom, and then you're uncomfortable because you've been in the bathroom for 40 minutes, and
yeah, you can't.
It's killed it.
You can't come back from that.
And I
once
killed
you're
it
thrown
too
to the
because I'm
bathroom.
like, yeah, I'm not even gonna reach out. I'm so embarrassed by this.
So where'd you go? So you went with Country Hick Boy, and you had food poisoning. What restaurant did you go to, or where'd you go?
I can't remember what restaurant. We went somewhere to get food, and then we went to Elizabeth Park downriver, and we were like watching the stars, and it was super romantic. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna puke, and I did. So.
Oh, that's gotta be horrible. A dude sitting out there, and it's like, oh, this is so romantic, and she's like, I'm just gonna fucking puke all over you, dude.
Yeah.
This isn't going.
No, I at least can make it to the bathroom. It was a sprint. But yeah.
So where we at? 16. What was your worst kiss experience, and who was it with?
Okay, wow. Worst kiss. Can I say my first kiss? That was pretty bad. I think I was like 11. No, I was younger than that. No, yeah, 11 or 12, and it was under this giant plastic turtle at a playground. Yeah.
Okay.
Really romantic. The acoustics in there were great. It was really nice. But yeah, it was just really awkward, super terrible. And he just thought it was the best thing ever, which I think is hilarious. It was so funny. I was like, okay, hype yourself up. You go off then. Okay.
Oh, so why was it bad? Like, why was it the worst?
Just awkward. I mean, everyone's first kiss. It was just awkward, and it was super dry, and like, just there was nothing to it, And it's like, what do you expect when you're 11 or 12? But at the same time, it's like, give me a little something,
I don't know. I figure 11, you're hitting puberty, so you're probably going at it, huh?
Well, I think it's sloppy.
Yeah, no, there was nothing. It was a quick little, and that was it.
Okay. Number 17. Who are you jealous of?
Who am I? So I don't really.
Other than Lizzie Hale, because I kind of feared that's where you're going to kind of go with it.
Oh my God, she's so cool. Not even jealousy. I don't really have jealousy. I don't believe in jealousy, honestly. I think everyone has their thing, and if they're good at it, great. If I want to be like them, it's not more or less jealousy. It's like, hey, I think you're really freaking cool. Like, I want to be just like you. It's not really jealousy. Yeah, I don't really have any jealousy for anyone. I think there's a long list of people where I'm like, hey, you're fucking cool as hell. I want to be like you. But no jealousy, really.
Okay. Number 18. If you could only text one person for the rest of your life, but you could never talk to that person face to face ever again, who would it be? All you can do is text, but you're never going to see them again.
I hate texting with everything in me.
I know.
Face to face. Yeah, you should know. Oh man, what is the alternative? Oh god, this is not a good. I don't know.
So it can't be somebody you hate because you want to text them again, but somebody you don't like enough to be like, okay, I don't need to see you anymore, but I'm totally down with texting you.
Oof, I don't know. I can think of some family members where I'm like, yeah, no, you're not great. I could text you for sure, but face to face, that's a no. Yeah, probably a couple family members. That's about it.
Okay.
I love my family dearly, but there's a couple where I'm like, I need to keep an arm's distance from you.
I know exactly where you're coming from. Number 19. If you could only use one swear word for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
Probably fuck, because my go-to is like, fuck yeah. Anything something happens, instead of saying, oh great, I'm like, fuck yeah.
That seems to be unanimous. So everybody, you can use fuck in so many different contexts. All right, last one, number 20. This is a big one. I actually like this one. If you could pick, if you wanted to pick someone up at a bar, what is your go-to pickup line? So there's a dude or a girl there at the bar. You're wherever the hell you're at, Pride Fest, a show, wherever you're at, and you're like, oh, that person, I want to take them home. I need a good one-liner to reel them in. What is that go-to pickup line?
So usually something to the effect of, hey, let me write you a song, and I'll write them a song in like 10 seconds off the top of my head, and that just works.
See, I think Kate's, when she did it, it was something along the lines of, God, she'd like show him like a bracelet, and she'd be like, oh yeah, you know what it's made of? Girlfriend material.
That's clever. That's really clever.
I'd rather have a song written by.
That smooth. I'm not that smooth, so I have to use realistic.
I'd rather have a song though.
See, mine is, hey, do you know who the fuck I am? I'm Rikki ROXX.
Rikki motherfucking rocks.
It's worked.
I can see it, man.
Once or twice it has worked. Okay.
Come on, how drunk were they? What was their most embarrassing?
I married her. Okay, so that is our 20 questions. We are coming up really quick to 9 o'clock. We have KAYLA King, solo artist, lead singer of Stage Drive. Anybody who hasn't seen Stage Drive, like me, I've never seen Stage Drive.
It's September 24th.
September 24th. At the Token Lounge in Westland, Michigan, with Fatal Conceit, Crafty Conviction, and Shadows Reflection. What can Rikki ROXX expect from a Stage Drive show? Because I'm going to finally get to see it. What can I expect from the show?
Energy. You can expect a lot of energy, a lot of just in your face. I'm wireless everything, wireless guitar, wireless mic, because I don't like to be on stage. I like to be interactive with the crowd, so you can expect a lot of energy. And then Brian, oh my God, he's an amazing drummer, like a fuck ton of energy from him. Tim, he jumps when he does his solos. And we have a couple pictures that photographers have taken of him, like in the air doing a solo, which is really cool. So you can expect a lot of energy and just in your face, an amazing show.
And tell us about your bass player.
Katie, oh yes. You already know what you can expect from her. She's amazing. At the last show we did, we have this one funkier song. It's more of like a James Brown type effect. And there's the lyrics, it's written about kinky sex. That's what the song is about.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right.
So like mid-song, I like snagged her fishnets and like ripped them off. So yeah, you can expect fishnets being ripped off.
Yep, and Katie told me to ask about that.
She just asked in the chat,
Yeah.
ripped fishnets, LOL.
Yeah.
Ask her about it.
Yes. No, she's amazing. At the Music Factory, she did a really good job. The only thing I would say I didn't like, I think whoever was running the lights didn't realize that they didn't have the entire left part of the stage lit, and I didn't notice because I wasn't on the left side of the stage. I was everywhere, but yeah, so it wasn't lit up really well. So I'm hoping at the Token we'll be able to see her better.
Okay, so tell us about the other bands on the bill, because I'm assuming you had pretty much, you could pick any band bands you wanted to be on this show. Take us through, Crafty Conviction, Fatal Conceit, and Shadows Reflection. How did you guys arrive on those bands for this show?
So we had a list of bands, Brian and I, we had a list of bands that we were like, hey, and we talked on the phone for like an hour about it. So we want the show to be for a temporary goodbye for now. We want it to be a good little last hurrah before we take a little break from, Stage Drive. So we had a list of bands that we were going to ask, and Shadow's Reflection I actually have not seen live yet.
Oh, they're a
I've
killer band.
seen some of their stuff. I've seen a video, and I wanted at least one band that I have had no experience with that I just have really high hopes for. So I'm super excited to see them live. And it's female fronted, which is really cool. And okay, so that brings me to one other thing too, is the word female fronted gets a lot of shit. And I get it because you're a band, you're in music. But when I say female fronted, I'm not really doing a gender thing per se. It's just I don't know, like I like female fronted bands. I like Hailstorm, I like Dorothy, like Pat Benatar, Joan Jett. I'm really big into that. So I don't know, I don't see female fronted as a terrible adjective to use when you're describing bands. I think if you're discriminating against a band saying, oh yeah, they're female front, like yeah, obviously. But if
Well,
you're just saying,
let's go into this for a second, because this was a thing that a lot of female fronted bands had a problem with when I was younger. They do like women of rock shows and stuff like this, and where it's just female fronted bands, and kind of like, and there were a lot of female fronted bands that were like, oh, we're only on this show because our singer is a girl. You know, it doesn't matter about the band. It's just the singer is a girl, and that's why we're on this show, because I have a girl as a singer. That was a problem, like Amanda from Ave Under Fire, when she was in Fall Prey way back before. She had a big problem with that. When she did one once, and she's like, I don't like the vibe of it, because the only reason we're on this bill is because I'm a girl, not because of my band.
Yeah, I've done a couple different like female fronted shows. One of them was just an acoustic show with all female lineup. And I will agree, there are some shows that like, yeah, you're only on the bill because of, you're a female fronted band, like whatever. But I don't know, when I agree to do the shows, it's more or less because I'm like, these bands kick ass, they're all really fucking good. It's just going to be a good night.
Right.
So I do get when people like frown upon using that word, but I also get the ups of it too. I just like female rock. I mean, don't get me wrong, any male fronted band is also fucking awesome, but then I have my female fronted rockers that I've been looking up to for, my entire life. So I don't know, I don't know, maybe there'll be a new adjective at some point that people start using to describe it, maybe not like so gender focused.
Should just be a band. I mean, we should
just
fucking destroy it. When I saw Dorothy open for Greta Van Fleet, I wasn't like, oh, here's a female. No, here's Dorothy, they kick ass. Just leave it at that.
And for a regular show, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, female front, cool. But female fronted bills though are a thing. They're becoming more popular, I think. I did 2 of them in the past year, and after those 2, I was getting asked a lot to do them. And like me and the other guys at Stage Drive, we sat down and we were like, okay, I don't want to be known for just doing female fronted shows. Like that's not what we are. We're a band, just like you just said.
Right.
We don't want to be known for only doing female fronted shows. I think they're cool on occasion, but yeah, I mean, it definitely gets shit for that word.
So take us through the other 2 bands on this bill, Fatal Conceit and Craft Conviction.
Yeah, so Fatal Conceit.
Male fronted band. Male fronted band.
Let's fucking go. Yeah, no, they're really great. Katie, Tim, Joe, they're all fucking awesome. They're so great. The energy on stage is amazing. And one thing I do like about them a lot is you can just tell, like literally the first time I saw them live, before I really even knew them super, super personally, before I got closer with them, they just have chemistry on stage. They're all friends. You can see they're having fun up there. They don't care. They are just enjoying their time up there. They're enjoying playing their music, doing their art, and I adore that. I love when you can like read that right off the bat from a band. I just love that. So Fatal Conceit, I'm super excited about that. Crafted Conviction, their lead singer Caitlin, I absolutely adore her. She's so great. She's so cute. She has the best energy on stage ever. She just jumps, and it's like, oh my god, watching her at the Token for their EP release show, I was like, I want that energy. Like, how do you? Oh my god.
Yeah, that girl's one of my best friends in the world. Such a cool person. That whole band is killer.
Yeah. No, she's such a sweetheart. She's really cool. Before and after the show, she talks to everybody in the entire room. I love that. I've seen them live a couple times now, and they're just amazing. We played with them at the Diesel too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was my first time seeing them live actually at the Diesel when we played with them. And right after that, I was like, yeah, I want to play with you guys again. Hell yeah, you guys are awesome. And she was really cool to meet for the first time as well. They all were, but Caitlin specifically, she's the first person I met from the band. She was really cool to meet right off the bat, super, super friendly. And I just really love that, especially in music, when any musician, you're at the same show to do the same thing, to impress the same people, to, do the same thing. You have the same goal, get up there, play your music, get off, right? And everyone wants to leave that lasting impression on people. I think it really helps when you're just a kick-ass person with the kick-ass music to back it.
So there it is. That is going on September 24th. Is that the right date? September 24th at the Token Lounge. I guess
in Westland, Michigan.
I guess I got but asked to introduce Fatal Conceit and Crafted Conviction on the show. So I think I got to be there. So I will be there doing that. So you can come see me. I'm going to get to see Stage Drive for the first time. I'm super stoked to drive an hour to finally get to see Stage Drive.
45 minutes.
Well, I'm a slow driver, and finally get to see them, and super stacked lineup. So if you want to make the drive out to the Smoke and Token Lounge on September 24th, Shadows Reflection, Fatal Conceit, Craft Conviction, and Stage Drive, the last show of 2022, and for the foreseeable future, hopefully more from them. There's an EP that is on standby. It's there. It's in the vaults. As far as the solo career, the solo thing, what's next on the docket for you? Like, what's the next thing that people are going to see from KAYLA King?
So there's going to be another release in the next month, I want to say. I'm just going to start recording that. We already have the music done for it. I'm doing track and vocals next Monday, and the video is going to be the following week, and I have to drive across the state for that. So I'm super pumped for that. I like going to all these different locations. They're like really broadening my horizons for sure. It's great. So yeah, I'm going to have another release in the next month, and then I have a very big guest appearance in the next.
I think that's the one I know about. I think that's the one I've heard about.
Yeah. So I have a very big guest appearance that I can't announce yet, but that's in October, and I'm really excited for that.
I can, but I won't.
Hurry up, let's end the show so I can.
I won't, but I know it. It's pretty fucking cool. Really cool. So live shows, solo. Is there any talks of doing that? Maybe not this year, 2023. I know, you want to get the hell out of Michigan. You want to make this your career. And the way of doing that is getting out on the road and broadening your fan base, going out there. What's the word with John and BJ on playing shows and getting your band together?
So probably not this year, I would say. I do want to kind of establish the song, kind of a catalog of music first, originals, covers, whatever it may be. I want to establish a catalog and kind of establish who I am as an artist, as KAYLA King. It's still a newer thing to me. It's only been in the works for a couple of months. So yeah, no, there's been talks about shows though. And the thing that I like is they are totally on board with shows, and they were like, listen, we will get you a band if you want to play a show. Just let us know. We'll get you a band. So they have like hired guns that they're just ready to launch. And I just love that. They seem like they have a lot of faith in me. They have a lot of faith in what I'm doing. They believe me and trust me. So, but yeah, there will be live shows upcoming. I'm not going to say this year, probably not this year.
So when you do go out, this has been kind of beaten around during this interview. Are you going to do any songs that you've done in Stage Drive? Are you going to do those as a solo artist with your new band? Like a song you particularly like from Stage Drive, maybe throw that in the set, because you have, a handful of songs at this point. You got to hash out a set list somewhere. Has there been any talks about, hey, maybe the Stage Drive song that got a cool reaction, maybe I can cover my own band in the solo project?
There's been no talk of that. Yeah, I don't think so. So, I mean, I've been a songwriter my entire life, and I'm very confident that I can write these songs for, KAYLA King and for Stage Drive. I think my Stage Drive songs, I'm just going to leave as my Stage Drive songs. Mm-hmm. It's a project I'm super proud of. It's gotten me to where I am. It was a huge stepping stone, still is a huge stepping stone. So I think I'm going to leave that as it is. I don't want to, touch it, mess with anything. And plus, the musicians I've worked with, so Brett Solferino, he was my first guitarist. Daniel, my first drummer. Grant Ledee, one of my bassists. Elena, amazing bassist. Brian, Tim, everyone that's been a part of Stage Drive at some point, like an actual official member, has contributed to these songs. And I don't want to mess with that art. I think it's great how it is, and I think it just needs to be left alone. So moving on to KAYLA King, I think I want to write new songs and come up with new stuff that is going to fit that look. I think it's two separate entities, and I want to leave that alone.
Fair enough. All right, Bob, you got any questions for KAYLA King before we get her out of here?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
On tour, out of Michigan, hopefully. Yeah, I think I'm going to be out of Michigan. My family's here. I love it here, but I think I'm going to be out doing my thing. I think I'm going to be happy doing my thing. I think music's going to be a full-time job. I don't think I'm going to have my 9 to 5 anymore. Super grateful for my 9 to 5. I'm glad I have something so easy to fund, my music. But I think I'm going to be where I want to be in 5 years.
All right. What does KAYLA King do? What's the job? What's the 9 to 5?
That's her alter ego. You can't learn the secret identity.
We've already talked about virginity. I think we can ask about a job.
It's just really data analysis, and I file some property claims, stuff like that. So it's nothing super hard. It's a work from home job, so that's pretty cool. One thing, when I was still working out in public, I did have an issue. Every once in a while, I would get someone that would see a TikTok. We talked about being super prevalent on TikTok earlier. I would get someone that saw a TikTok or something that would come into wherever it was that I was working at the time, and they would say, "Hey, I saw you on TikTok," and I'm like, great. Really cool. This is weird. I don't know how to go forward with this. I had that happen twice at my old job, and that was pretty uncomfortable. So I can say the working from home thing is really, really nice, very suitable.
And I do have to say that is kind of weird when you go into work. I'll go into work. I work on the assembly line and shit like that. And then every once in a while, I don't tell them anything about the music thing because people think I think it's kind of goofy, the clown makeup and all this shit. Right. So I'll go into work and somebody will be like, "Hey, Rikki ROXX, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh God, what now?" He's like, "Dude, I saw you on Facebook Live. There's this band I found out about, and then I saw your dumbass on there with clown makeup on. What's that about?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a thing I do and all this." So I'm like, "I don't know how to talk to you. You make doors, dude. I don't know how to talk to you about Rikki ROXX shit." So yeah, I get the work environment. It's like, ooh, this isn't the normal vibe of it. So
yeah.
So is there anything that we have not touched on during this interview that you want to get out there to people that are listening now or are going to listen in the future? Anything you want to get out there to the people?
I think I just want everyone to be excited. I think music is just a part of an everyday life, and I'm here to supply that, and I'm here to push as hard as I can for people to hear what I have to say. The originals I'm super excited for. Even the covers, they're just explosive. I just want people to be excited, and I hope they're as excited as I am.
Okay, so I went on YouTube because I have no stage drive music on me, so I had to go on YouTube and try to find something that I could rip down. And hopefully this is the right stage drive. Do you have a song called "So Damn Right"? That
was our first single we released. It's not the greatest production.
Okay, and then there's another song, "Thank You for Loving Me." Is that yours too?
Yeah, I love that song. That actually also started off as an acoustic solo song. It was actually a really sappy, slow song originally, and then we turned it into that.
So if I could play one of those two to exit this interview with, which one would it be?
Thank You for Loving Me.
Okay, so we're going to play that. KAYLA King, thank you so much. It took forever to get this interview going on and get this scheduled. She is horrible at texting. It will take her a week to get back to you. And
yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
When she responds, you have to be right away while she's still on Messenger, and you have to get her right on it or she won't see it for a week. So this took a month and a half, 2 months to get this damn interview scheduled and lined up. And when we had it lined up, she's like, "Oh, I have another concert I got to go to. I can't do it." And I'm like, "Well, looks like I won't do a show that week." Okay. So, stage
in her
right.
defense, you never stick around to see her show, or you never make it on time to see her show. Why should she be on the show?
All right, Bob. Jesus Christ.
Ricky.
All right, Bob, calm down. I'm a busy man. I'm going through a lot right now. Okay, so KAYLA King, Stage Drive, September 24th, Token Lounge, Shadows Reflection, Fatal Conceit, Crafted Conviction, and Stage Drive. The new single, Ghost, is out now. Check it out on all the streaming platforms. The music video is off the hook, completely awesome. Very jealous that you actually you have a really great music video. It's super cool. Great musicians behind you. I'm totally jealous that you have that much animated band members behind you.
They're so cool. Cooler than I was.
Casting Shadows does not really have that. So so super cool. And check out the new single coming up in the next couple weeks. Big collab coming up in the next little bit with a really big, a bigger band,
so you can tell me
a
about
bigger band, a band that I am good friends with, and leave it at that. It's gonna be super cool. So cool. All right, we're gonna let you go. Thank you, Kayla, for everything and finally getting on here to do this. And we'll talk to you soon. I will see you September 24th at the Token Lounge.
Nice meeting you, Kayla.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right, that was Kayla King from Stage Drive, newly minted solo artist. Bob, any big takeaways you took from that interview?
Just the bombshell you hinted at the end. I figured out who she's playing with. I won't say it on the air, though.
How the hell did you figure it out?
Because I just know you.
No, they're not. She's not doing a collab with Casting Shadows.
No, it's not. So I'll just leave it up after the air. I know. This was an hour and 15-minute show.
Yeah.
That flew.
Yeah, it did.
I was like, the chair started hurting, but the conversation I was in tune to.
Yeah, it was a really good talk. She's very good at talking, and which is awesome. I'd rather go over a couple minutes than be like, and have a good interview rather than go under and be like, I'm sorry guys that this interview was complete garbage like the last interview.
Well, I mean, it wasn't their fault. It was just technology, where this one was just like so much smoother.
Right. So super cool. The Ghost video, we played it before the interview. It's doing really well on YouTube. It's beating out both George and Ede and Casting Shadows.
So you're trying to say I suck?
No, I'm just saying her song's better.
Oh, okay.
Way better. All right, so we're going to play Thank You for Loving Me by Stage Drive, and we're going to get out of here. I got to go to work in the morning. Thank you to Kayla King for the awesome interview. Again, check out Stage Drive if you're in Metro Detroit, September 24th at the Token Lounge. Shadows Reflection, Fatal Conceit, and Craft Conviction, as well as Stage Drive. It's going to be super cool. I'm going to be introducing a couple of the bands there, so that means I got to get hussied up and look pretty because there's going to be photogs up the ass there, and it's going to be a packed house.
You going to wear a kilt?
I have to because my leather pants have a big rip in the dick.
Oh, shit.
So my donger is just going to fall out the bottom if I wear my leather. I tried patching it, and the patch just fucking ripped.
Excuse me.
Because I'm kind of packing it like that. So shout out to everybody who is hanging out in the chat. At JH Unlimited for Kayla. Oh, we didn't get to his question. Are you working on an album or doing singles with band and solo exclusively?
I felt she covered that. I saw the question, but I thought she was kind of really covering it.
Yeah, it seems like the singles thing is the way it's kind of treading in that thing. What else is going on? When are we going to hear an original from you? Okay, original. I don't know if she said any of the songs were. I think the one
down the road. She
down
said,
the road.
Yeah.
Okay. They're phenomenal. They all had amazing performance skills. Kate Puga says, I had a big apartment. Rip Fishnets, it's a thing. Singles. Oh, Kayla's still listening. Singles for now with the label. So there it is.
All right.
So we're going to get out of here. We're going to play Thank You for Loving Me, Stage Drive, and get out of here. Next week on the show, either we're going to have Jeff Land from Casting Shadows in the co-host chair, or we're going to have Dakota Starr from Black Swan, Dive Bomb, New Day Revolution, Dirty Whiskey. We're going to dive down deep rabbit holes.
And they better show. I'm unavailable Sunday.
Huh?
I'm unavailable next week.
Okay, well, if neither of them can show up, I just won't do a show.
Yeah.
So
you pick the one that's going to most likely show, because I can't do next Sunday.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to probably be Dakota, but...
yeah, because I'm usually finding out a couple hours ahead of time, and I just got a family function for Labor Day. So.
Well, there it is. And, any plans for the upcoming week?
Week work, and then Labor Day. I got some family coming in town. My uncle up north, he throws a party every Labor Day, but I have family that I don't see that often, like every 3-4 years.
So you're going out of town for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Definitely
Saturday I'm actually going to Arts Beats and he's going to go see Ave Under Fire on Saturday.
I might join you for Saturday because that's Sunday and Monday. That's
the
family thing. So Saturday, maybe I'll join you.
Yeah, Saturday I'm going to be down at Arts Beats and need to see Ave Under Fire. My buddy Brian Sarazen's running merch for him. It'd be cool to see those guys again and smaller venue and all that. And just go to the whole Arts Beats.
You going to see George and Ede at Arts Beats and East too?
When are they playing?
I think Sunday,
No.
All right.
No, no, I'm not going to go see him. All right, so here it is. Thank You for Loving Me by Stage Drive. Sunday I have a show. I can't do shit on Sunday. I have a show that day. I have a radio show to do. I can't be doing that shit. And then if you're in town, September 11th, Diesel, my buddy Johnny Mascioli's memorial benefit thing is going on. Critical Bill, 10 Paces is on that. Oh, God, I can't even remember who else is on
John
that.
and Robbie are on it.
John and Robbie are on it. Hell Rides North is getting back together to play that. Oh, geez, I can't remember. But it's going to be a killer show. And if you're into hard rock and metal from Metro Detroit in the last 5-10 years, you'll know all the bands on the bill, all the people that are playing. It's going to be super cool. Raising money for his kids. He died unexpectedly of diabetes. Diabetes-related issues. And so raising money for his 3 daughters. So coming out to Diesel on 9/11. Couldn't pick a better day, but 9/11, they're going to fucking do it. So over at Diesel, I'm going to be hanging out for that one. Going to be super cool. And okay, so now we're going to do it. Thank you for loving me, Stage Drive. We will talk to you hopefully next week for episode number 147 of the Ricky Rock Show right here on Rocks100.com.
Peace out.
Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks. It's Ricky Rocks, coming out of the box. Bitches come in frocks, trying to steal his jocks. He needs to be contained with padded rocks. It's the Ricky Rock Show, spreading like the pox. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks, yeah. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks. Ricky rocks, Ricky rocks, yeah. Ricky rocks up in your grill, motherfucker.